mic.
Wait.
Pick room.
Wait.
Those freaking Russians.
Wait.
They got us.
They can hear
Start
us?
the war already. How we doing?
There we go.
Hello.
We're live.
We are live? Are you sure? They've been playing with my emotions a lot
You're
today.
playing with our hearts.
I'm not, yeah.
Twitch.
I don't know.
The internet.
But I keep coming back, though. That's.
I'm excited that you've come back, and in
Yes.
fact that you are here because you have never been on this show. And returning champion Hector Navarro
Hey, what's up, everybody?
is joining us today on Wednesday Club. My name is Amy Dallen. This is Hector Navarro, and very special guest, B. Dave Walters.
B. Dave Walters. Hello, people of the interwebs. Glad to see you.
I love that shirt. That's awesome, man. United. Look at that.
I like
That's
this
great.
one. I like this
Marking
one a
the
lot.
little
though.
That's
that's
Martian
a very
Manhunter
nice-
today.
Very
Saga.
nice.
Very
There
nice.
is.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Something for everybody.
Yeah.
Something for everybody.
What's the Wednesday Club, Amy? What are we talking about?
The Wednesday Club is a show usually where myself, Taliesin Jaffe, and Matt Key talk about the wonderful world of comic books with which we are all obsessed. But they are both out of town, and I have found, I think, maybe the best possible reinforcements because we were like, hey, Hector, what do you want to talk about?
Oh.
Is there anything that, like, sounds good to you that you'd really want to cover? Can you see this table?
Can you?
Yeah.
The things. You know that shot doesn't do justice of the sheer volume of stuffery. And
Thank you.
this is all on his
My
tab, by the way.
There's no
Goodness.
camera up there. I
it
wish
is.
there was.
There's it's. A
There it
lot.
is. Look at
A
that.
lot.
There's
Mini
so
books.
much.
Hundreds of thousands of words of things. Look at we've got the panning shot of
Oh.
things. Shout out to Hector Navarro.
So, Hector Navarro, what is all this?
This is my not so secret shame. This is something I'm obsessed with, which is encyclopedias about stuff. More specifically, comic book encyclopedias.
Yes.
People are. I get to make a living knowing about superheroes and comic books. It's stuff I've known about since I was 5, and I've read comics. And mostly, the reason I know what I know is because of stuff like this.
Cheat code.
Superhero
Right
comic
here.
books have been around since the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Very long time. I don't have the time to actually read all of them, but what these are summaries. They're cliff notes. A lot of these are pre-internet.
This is Wikipedia for old people.
This is Wikipedia for old people, and a lot of these are still even better than Wikipedia.
Yes.
And I could explain even why some of these are better than just having all this information on the internet, which you could technically kind of get most of it.
not
But
the
some
same.
of this stuff is out of print.
It's not the same.
Some of this stuff is snapshots in times, but these are superhero comic book encyclopedias. I've also got some encyclopedias of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe and comics, of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the movies. There's Hela from the comic books.
Thor Ragnarok.
Boom, right there. I've got
There
a
it is.
G.I.
Yeah, what's
Joe
up?
encyclopedia over there. I've got, oh my gosh, I've got so much stuff. I have an index to the Marvel Universe, this is literally a book that has summaries of other comic books. That's all it is. But like years and years of comic books. This is like 50 years of Spider-Man right here in this little book. So if you read that, you need to look something up.
So we have talked
yeah.
on this show on a couple different occasions. about
Towson's
sort
going to
of
be
the
so
growth-
mad he's not here. Towson's going to be so mad.
Definitely. And it's also, you are a better looking guy than him. That's also a reason
Boom!
for him to be upset.
Take
That's
that,
true.
Taliesin.
That is true.
Enjoy your Burning Man. He'll never see this. He's like an Amish this
Right.
week. He'll never even know this happened.
He's on
It's
another
true.
planet.
That he is in the next world at this exact moment. Yes. He's communing with spirits.
We've talked a couple different times on the show about the big two companies and the way that sort of the concept of comic book continuity grew eventually out
Yeah.
of the comic book industry
Yeah.
from sort of a shaky start where they were never assuming that anybody had read anything that had happened before.
Yeah.
They tried to keep everything super self-contained, and that had a lot of virtues, but it also had a lot of flaws. You can't tell any kind of story that goes anywhere if you're assuming you start from ground zero every single issue.
Right.
So over the course of decades, you get like the first generation to start working in comics having grown up reading them.
Yes.
And those guys had expectations that things would make sense, that they would match other things, that they could lead or build the stuff. And within, like, because those guys showed up in like late 60s, early 70s to start writing.
Yeah, about
And
that.
what happened about 10 years after that?
In the 80s, Jim Shooter was editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics, and he, I think, was a big fan of baseball cards. And I think that baseball cards having stats of baseball players on the back
He also
appealed to
credits
him.
like a book of like submirine diagrams that he
Really?
saw. That was like it was like Jane's Navy something
So
guide.
submarine diagrams wanted him to. They eventually led to Marvel handbooks that like specialize in like weaponry and paraphernalia and stuff. Like, I love the 15th issue of this first series, and I'll talk about what the series is here in a second, but like, here's how Dr. Octopus's arms work. Like, here's how Spider-Man's web shooters work. I love that stuff.
And in the pre-internet age, this was the only way to
This
settle
is it,
arguments.
man. This is the way to settle arguments. So Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief, was inspired by a submarine book, and he put a guy named Mark Grunwald on this assignment. And
I believe we have a picture of Mark Grunwald.
Mark
Shout out Mark
Grunwald was, rest in peace, he was a writer and an editor, and he had a legendary Captain America run. And Mark was such a great writer, but he was like the head writer of this project, which ended up being called the official handbook of the Marvel Universe.
Otherwise known affectionately as OHOTMU.
OHOTMU. And right here is the first... I didn't actually bring any of my floppy issues, which I think I've got most of them. But right here is the very first run of the official handbook of the Marvel Universe, issues 1 through 15.
Appropriately yellowed, by the way. Like, that's the real. That's
Yeah.
not an Amazon reprint.
No,
that
no,
you just
no,
bought.
baby.
No, that's the real thing.
It smells like newspaper.
Although
I love it.
It was published in this format first.
Yes.
Yes.
Floppy issues, single issues.
With color, and this is a black and white reprinting of the whole thing, and it's got the first. Oh my gosh, hang on, what is it? The first, it's like 13 issues are, the first 12, I think, are just like encyclopedic A through Z. And then the second to, the third to last 2 issues, which are, what is this? Book of the Dead. Issues 13 and 14 are Book of the Dead, characters that had died in the Marvel Universe. And you read this and it's hilarious now because it's like, Bucky, he died. In World War II, you know, there's no Winter Soldier coming back
forever.
in this.
Yeah, 100%. Only Uncle Ben dies.
Most of these characters have come back, but they did have like the ancient one from Doctor Strange, and like they're dead. So
but that's what's so great is that they would publish these like in these early and mid '80s handbooks, handbooks on the Marvel side, and then they quickly followed up on the DC side with who's who in the DC universe.
Right here, baby.
Completely different though. That's totally legit.
Yeah.
It's not at all derivative.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like I was popping online, and like there are still like people siding with one over the other in terms of their formatting choices.
I like them both for different reasons, but I tend to side more on the official handbook of the Marvel Universe side for different reasons. But yeah, so this is happening.
They gave them more space for their entries in that one, apparently.
Sure.
So it's a funny story. They would publish them like this month. Like the letters A and B would come out, and this month the next couple. And by the time they finished coming out, they were all already out of date.
Yeah.
Who's Who started shortly before Crisis on Infinite Earths, the thing that would change the DC Universe more than any other event in its history.
I love it. That's why I think a year or so after the first run of the official handbook of the Marvel Universe, Marvel came out with the deluxe edition.
Yes.
Which is in this version.
Went 20 issues instead of 15, right?
In this version, every character, no matter how important they are, will have at maximum a page entry.
Yes.
So you have everyone from Karnak, Karnilla, to arguably the most popular Marvel character of all time, Spider-Man.
Like Supreme Intelligence.
Spider-Man is the one that has like a page and a half and then his web shooters. But everybody else, you saw the Supreme Intelligence in there. Everybody else has maximum a page. Some characters are sharing a page. Right there you've got the Phantom, Space Phantom, and the Speed Demon, and then here's Sphinx. So like this was kind of limiting because they're like a page per character. There it is. There's that classic Spidey, the very first entry. You get to the deluxe edition, and the deluxe edition has room. I mean, Frankenstein's monster has a 2-page spread. Like they went into it with the deluxe edition. This is the good stuff.
We're looking at this the Spider-Man entry from one of the handbooks here.
Yes,
the original handbook.
I have that exact one.
You have that, yeah.
Believe it or not, these books actually were kind of pivotal into me getting into role playing. Because have you ever played the old Marvel superheroes role playing game?
I haven't, but they're similar.
Well, the books are in this format.
Yes.
So, but except instead, if you have this exact same thing, but then you'd have a stat block. For how it applied to the game.
Yeah.
And then same thing, they had to put out an update every year. There was an 89 update, 90, 92, another Iron Man, another Spider-Man, and they changed it because the continuity had shifted so much.
Yeah.
But it was a pretty ingenious idea for them at the time to help kind of bridge that gap between comic reader and gamer.
Yeah. And that it was really smart, and I think a lot of a lot of people that are into like statistics and stuff could get into comics this way. You know what I mean? And I'm really into like organization, and I think I have a mild obsessive compulsive disorder, so I really that's why I love
According
This
to
is
Joe-
is this bothering you a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit?
yeah.
What's that?
Not at all.
They're slightly out of order now?
I'll fix it later.
what's that?
I'll
That's
fix it
over
later.
there now.
I don't even care. I'll fix it later.
You can zoom in on that like bulging on the side of that.
I'll fix it later.
So
but like you were saying,
blog claims that
Yeah.
this partly spun out of a feature in the back of an issue of Spider-Man.
really?
It was that very first comparison of like how strong is Spider-Man compared to
Yeah.
these other characters.
Right.
It was like a page or 2 pages, and it was just like a lineup of like Hulk and Thor and whatever, and just talking about like, all right, who's more and less strong. And I guess they got just like an avalanche of fan mail of people being like, yes, finally, some answers.
This is awesome. Yeah, we can settle debates that we're having on the schoolyard
Yep.
or in colleges or whatever.
Yep.
And before then, I mean, stuff was vague. If you were a superhero comic book fan and somebody came up to you and they're like, Superman could beat the Hulk, you'd have to cite a specific comic book story. Be like, well,
Right.
no, because in issue 181,
They'd be like, nerd. Yeah,
like,
right.
and they'd be like, nerd, you know.
Now the truth is that
yeah.
there's strong story reasons to leave that stuff vague.
Of course.
Like you
course.
get a lot more storytelling leeway out of not nailing down exactly how many pounds somebody can lift.
This is all.
Well, 100
it's so much
tons is a pretty,
fun.
like 10 tons, 50 tons, 100 tons. I mean, and there's a pretty big spectrum
Yeah.
between 50 and 100 tons. Yeah, and then you get those times like where you have like the iconic scenes from the film. It's happened in the comic also. Spider-Man 2, where he stops the train.
Sure.
You know, and like he shouldn't be able to, but he
Homecoming,
finds a
where
way.
he takes the the rubble off of his back, just
Come
like
on,
in that
Spider-Man.
classic.
Come on, Spider-Man.
Come
Yep.
on, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So,
I got
so-
a little choked up during that
Yeah,
scene by
yeah,
the
that
Come
was
on, Spider-Man
such a
scene. You're
good
like,
scene.
But this is all, it's not all end all be all rules. It's all in flux. It's all guidebooks. It's all like, and I think it became an invaluable resource for writers and artists that would come and work on this stuff after. They still cite this stuff. In fact, the rumor is that the writer of Next Wave, Agents of Hate, Warren Ellis, got drunk one night and went through the official handbook of the Marvel Universe and found the stupidest characters and put them in his book. That's the rumor.
That's really
That's
plausible.
what he said. And it's
Definitely.
very plausible because if you read Next Wave, there is Modocs shaped like Elvis. There is the Soviet super apes, which are a real thing. They're in the 60s
wait,
handbook.
wait,
right
yes,
here.
60s
That one
handbook.
right there.
Yep.
Soviet
Let's look
super
up
apes.
The Soviet super apes.
Soviet
real thing.
super apes.
Yeah.
Let's
Well,
this is an
it's-
example.
and while you're looking this up, it also helps fans too, because there's been many times, like I remember distinctly seeing a Champion of the Universe, flipping through and just seeing him, especially because I was a wrestling fan at the
that
time, and I'm
guy,
like,
yeah.
that guy, that looks so cool.
Yeah.
And what book is he in? Let
Yeah.
me go track down some issues, and then you learn about something new that way.
It'll
Y'all,
tell
I
you.
can't believe they did this. I'm
Yeah.
just going to detour us and read the opening text here. Marvel Legacy, the 1960s handbook. Here it is, true believers. You knew we'd do it sooner or later. From the venerable vaults of Marveldom, it's the Mighty Marvel Handbook, 1960s style.
I love it.
Just what is the 1960s handbook, you ask? Imagine a handbook written at 11:59 p.m. on December 31st, 1969.
I love it.
The profiles within cover everything published by the hallowed House of Ideas up until that point in time. For the purposes of this pulse-pounding publication, all post-1969 events, revelations, and or character developments are excluded. This must have been so hard. So hard to do, because they haven't even happened yet. So if it's from a comic that has a December 1969 cover date or earlier, you'll find it covered in this magnificent mag. But face front, Flamekeeper, because there's more. Each profile is followed up with a Where Are They Now addendum, which covers all significant adventures and revelations that occurred after December 1969.
Okay, that's
This
a lot.
is impossible.
That's a lot.
I am excited.
They
to
did the
read
same
this.
thing for the 70s. There's an 80s one floating around here somewhere. There's a 90s one. They're amazing. Yeah, here's the 80s one, and then here's the 90s one. It's got characters like Sleepwalker and oh
That
my
was
gosh,
all. That was
what's
all
his
my
name?
prime time
Dark
right there.
Hawk right
Oh,
there.
Dark
there you
Hawk,
go.
absolutely.
There you
No,
go. That's how I
this
learned
was
about
prime
slapstick. I
time.
love slapstick. But the point is you can just pour over this stuff and geek out. And again, you go back to the original official handbook of the Marvel Universe. It really set the template for any kind of project like this.
Yeah.
And if you're watching this still and going, yeah, but now all this stuff exists on the internet. You don't need it anymore because it's on the internet.
It's not the same.
The way I'll defend it is I go, whether it's the original 1980s handbook, which the funniest thing in the world to me, the most perfect example of being out of date, but it's kind of awesome, is if you read the entry for Wolverine. Because now we
Little
know.
is known about this man of mystery.
Now we know everything about Wolverine. Right there. What's the first line there? Dave,
Very
right
first
there.
line. Wolverine's past is shrouded in mystery.
And not just that, but right up here. What's that?
Real name, Logan.
That's it. That's it. You don't get a James Howlett.
No.
You don't know that his brother may or may not be Sabretooth Victor Creed. It doesn't matter.
We would argue about it, though.
You get
Yes.
these great snapshots in time.
Yep.
And I have so many different versions of the Marvel encyclopedias here, DC encyclopedias, all the stuff from the 80s. I've got their beautiful collection that they put out from 2008, which is awesome. And even here, this is already 10 years outdated, 10 years old. But there's such great stuff in there. Even this beautiful, huge DC encyclopedia that DK puts out every couple of years, it's already outdated. And you're saying, well, you've got the Green Lanterns on there, Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz, probably already outdated. You could read that, but that's awesome.
But the
That's
difference,
awesome.
also the difference between these books and just like a Wikipedia is, first of all, as you flip through it, you get to have just the nostalgia of being like, oh yeah, Ghost Rider 2099.
Yeah.
I forgot about him.
Ghost Rider
But also you
2099.
can find some things that you don't know to look for, which is the value of books, kids. That you can stumble across stuff that you don't know to search for.
It's all in one place.
Yep.
And the
Well,
Marvel,
or
one place
not.
we mean 14 volumes.
many places.
the Marvel encyclopedias, DC Who's Who, they're spread across a bunch of volumes, but they still, in 2004, they kind of brought the project back. And I think I've got some versions of that. Oh, that's a whole nother thing
She's loose.
entirely.
She's loose.
Which is a lot of fun,
She's
but-
rampaging.
I can't be stopped.
Let me see if I can find.
Oh, the binders. I remember the binders.
Well, that was the master edition, was when they went back and did a third run of handbooks.
The
But they were like
master
3-hole
edition.
punchable to put into
love
a
it.
notebook.
If we have, if you
this
guys
is a later
have,
thing.
if you guys have an image of the master edition, pull it up, because what I love as an artist, from an artist standpoint, they had not just a shot of the character, but like front,
Front,
side,
side,
Yes.
back,
Yes.
and characters that had capes. They were holding their own cape to show you the backs of their costumes. Like
Yes.
as an artist, as somebody who likes to draw these characters, that was like the most amazing, geekiest thing ever. I loved it so much. Yeah, that was the master edition that came out in the late 80s, early 90s, I think, 1990 something. But what was I going to say? In 2004, they sort of brought the series back. There it is. Look at that. There's Bishop. on the
Yep, I
cover
had
of the
that. I
master
had that one
edition.
too. I had such high hopes for Bishops at that stage in his narrative.
Yeah, he was awesome. Such a cool costume.
No, well, they never really converted on the X-Trader thing. Like, there was so much lead up to it, and it's like Gambit is the only survivor, and maybe it was him, and maybe it wasn't, and maybe this, and maybe that, and then just one issue. It was
you
like,
know,
what?
you know what
okay.
else I love about encyclopedias is that they make all comics great. And they equalize them all. You
Yes.
could read an entry about Batman and read a little summary of some story that he went through and go, man, that's awesome. You could read an entry on Plastic Man, and they're written sometimes by the same people, and they're written the same way. They're not like less
Nobody's
encyclopedic.
like, this
You know
is
what I'm
some
saying?
lame guy, and what happened to him doesn't really matter.
Right, they're like, here's what happened to Eel O'Brien. He was trapped in a vat of chemical, and you're like, whoa, this is just as good as Batman. Like, it's like it equalizes everything across the board.
Yes.
And the Clone Saga and Spider-Man comics, people will say sucked, but if you read the encyclopedic summary of it, it's
True.
awesome.
It's
It's
just the
fun.
facts. By the numbers.
By the numbers, just the
It
facts.
was great, yeah.
It's on paper. Like, you don't have to sit through like bad comics. You just you read a summary and you're like, dang, that sounds really rad.
You
That
know,
sounds great.
On Twitter, when we announced that we were doing this, we had some of the people that contributed to these that hit us up.
Please say hi if you are here.
Yes.
Because we're so excited.
Yes, I don't wanna get
we
your-
have questions.
Yeah, I'm going to
Yeah.
find the Dr. Spectrum entry in the Defender's Guidebook
yeah,
because I'm
where?
sure it's amazing. I'm sure it's
we have
breathtaking.
the Defender's
Do we have
Guidebook?
the Defender's book anywhere?
Which the Defenders one?
I
One
was
of the
just told
mid-2000s
the
kinda run.
Defender's Handbook,
Defenders.
the Dr. Spectrum
If-
entry
here's the
is
thing.
specifically incredible. It's
If-
our fault for messing it up, though.
No. If you've got, in the mid-2000s, they did bring them back with a sort of a new series. Some of them, there were one-shots that look like this. And this is a really special
Nice.
one because this is the official handbook of the Ultimate Marvel Universe. And I've got another issue of this right here, a little bit later, Ultimate Secrets. And they're given. And what the cool thing is that these were never collected in a hardcover because when they did the hardcovers, they took a bunch of these little one-shot things. I've got a bunch of different ones. Marvel Atlas. Here's one that's just about like 1930s and 40s characters.
Y'all, we got him. He's in chat. Mr.
He's
Tattoo.
in
He's
chat.
there.
Hi,
He's
I'm
there.
here.
Shout out to you, sir.
They took a.
If we have it, it's Defenders Strange Heroes.
Defender Strange Heroes. And was it the Dr. Spectrum entry? You know, correct me if I'm wrong, because I want to make sure you get proper credit for your artistry and labor to the collective geekdom.
We did not warn Hector. We just got
It's true.
real excited.
We just ambushed him. That was
Let's see
out
if
of
he's
nowhere.
here. Let's see if he's here. Because
the
when
Marvel Cinematic Universe guidebook.
when they took those mid-2000s ones, they put them in this gorgeous collection of 2008.
That is really nice, by the way.
It's the way to go, man. And they collected all of them and updated them where they needed to and updated them where they could. And So most of the mid-2000s stuff should be in the hardcover 2008 encyclopedia, but I'm over here by Dr. Strange.
You know, he's going to go crazy and find it now, by the way. If he does not own it, he will track down this thing on principle. You know?
I'm like, wait, there's entries that I don't.
It was Dr. Spectrum.
I don't
Dr.
have?
Spectrum. See, I listen. I care.
Oh, man.
Hey, hit us up on Twitter, people of the interwebs. This is living proof that we
there it
listen to you
Okay, he
and
says
say
it was
words.
after the hardcovers. It might
After the hardcovers.
They did a bunch of one-shots after the hardcover. I don't have this one yet.
I totally remember this.
And I'm going to get it.
There it is, Dr. Spectrum.
I'm going to get this book.
See the Valentine Defenders there? This was circa the Matt Fraction run, right?
The Mad Fraction Defenders book, that's right. So they busted those guys out, yeah. I'm going to have to track that down. That's awesome.
By the way, I
Exactly.
was Alpha Comic Book Club yesterday. I just haven't seen you since that happened.
It was great. Talked to Matt Fraction. He loves Love and Rockets.
That's good.
And he apologized for suggesting volume 3 of the Palomar series instead of beginning with
Heartbreak Soup?
Heartbreak Soup, right? Which is he was like, you probably should start at volume 1 instead of the one that we're going into, which is like this great kind of prequel, but that was awesome. And he talked about his comic book influences and he's also got a really, really impressive collection of books behind him on a shelf. So it was great.
Where can people see that interview if they missed it?
I think it's on ProjectAlpha.com. I think Alpha Comic Book Club. You should go
Hey,
and
what
check that
other
out.
cool stuff can we see on Project Alpha and/or Twitch.tv/geeksundry?
Yes.
There is a show that is kind of amazing. It's a little bit incredible called Ask Your Black Geek Friend. We've done 2 episodes. We broadcast Mondays at 8:30 Pacific. So check it out. Me and my co-host, Damien Poitier. We say words.
Yeah, what's that show?
We do things.
I'm pretending I don't know what your show is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're like, tell me more. See, the phone starts vibrating. People are like, you're saying relative words. We're so happy. We just talk about kind of the intersection of diversity and inclusion and why that stuff matters in geek culture and why it's important that different kinds of people are represented. Once again, we're all different kinds of people sitting at the table, nerding out collectively.
That's very true.
So, you know,
Many of you are also people.
Also, some of you are people, some of you are not people.
And people can ask you guys questions?
They can ask questions and say words about anything. If you just want to talk about normal geek stuff, if you want to talk about the portrayals of people of color, LGBT, women, you know, different religious views, or if you just want to talk about how great Game of Thrones is, that's the place. It's a table with room for everyone. Although, you know, I keep saying that, but this is actually the table with room for everyone.
We can get a lot of chairs around this. I don't know how we'll shoot it, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I might need to, like, you know, just figure out a different way to explain what it is that we do.
Nice.
But check it out.
Says AYBGF is amazing.
There we go. AYGBF. I love that.
There it is.
That.
Hashtag AYBGF.
Much
I still have to spell it out in my head.
Say it out loud.
Right. I have to spell it in my head, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, but honestly, though, the reason why that is, if you just look at the cover of literally any of these, this is the 90s handbook. It's the closest one I got. All of them have, you know, very different types of people on the cover. They always have, you know? I mean, hey, look at this. Devil Dinosaur. Dinosaur lives matter. They do.
Yeah.
Oh my
They
God,
do.
you did not just say that.
I did. I said dinosaur lives matter. Yeah, yeah. And he's red. Come on, there's layers here. There's
That's
layers.
true.
You know.
I think
so
he's the last of his kind.
he may
Which I think
be.
is why him and
His
Moon
life
Boy.
does particularly matter.
Why
Yes.
Moon Boy, I think, is also the last of his kind, and that's why they're friends. And if you think I'm
That's
insane,
why.
I'm not. I've just read an encyclopedic entry. That's all.
It's true. Well, we have one.
When I first learned
handy.
that Devil Dinosaur was a thing, I was like, what? And I had to look it up. Who'd you find?
B is for Baymax.
Baymax. That's right. That's right.
I flipped a Honey Lemon in there, and Honey Lemon is like a minx in there. I'm all like, oh,
Very
hey,
different.
Honey Lemon.
Big Hero 6 from the
girl?
proper Marvel universe, very different from the
Right.
Disney,
It's
really
not-
good movie.
it's not a child show.
I have no idea who these dudes are.
Ooh,
this
who?
is the best part of an encyclopedia.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Who is Tygon Liger?
Tygon Liger? Oh man, is he a martial artist? This is it's like trivia now. Or is he like an Asgardian god or something?
Nope. I'm gonna say known affiliate of Kraven the Hunter.
No.
He's
Give me his real name. What's his real name?
Tygon Liger.
Damn it.
No help. No help.
context clues.
Wait, can I see the
got- he's
picture?
got
Like
an alias.
you can cover up his words and just show me the picture, because
Okay.
I might know him when I see
And
him.
then we're gonna do this guy on the other side.
Right.
Tygon Liger. That guy sucks. All I know is that he sucks. Look at him. He's the worst. Look at that guy.
I'm switching to Captain America. Captain America villain. Survey
Yeah.
says I'm not reading his words. Who is he?
All right, alias Ephesus. I don't know how to say
No
that.
idea.
It's like a city.
What's his first appearance?
That's
First
4 then.
appearance,
If it's Greek.
Overkill #1.
What even is Overkill?
1992.
This
Gotta
is why
look it up
these
in the
books matter. This is why they're important.
Yep,
Yes.
yep. Let's see.
Wow.
We can skip
Yeah.
to Overkill.
Yeah.
Is he going to beat? No, that's not.
Or was Overkill a team?
If you're in Tigen Liger, you're in the T's right now. You need the O volume, Amy.
Because
that's the thing.
there was Overt Kill. If you remember him, that was a character. Overt Kill was a character.
I'll
That
bet.
is true.
I'll bet.
You know? See, look at this. We have created chaos by shuffling around the books. Like he was prepared. This
Beautiful
was all.
kill. I wasn't prepared.
Yes.
This is a beautiful chaos.
Yes,
Okay.
it
one
is.
starts with
Chaos
the
is a
letter
ladder.
Z. I'm
That's what my
confused.
spirit animal Littlefinger taught me. That chaos is a ladder. So here.
Override, Overmind, Outlaw Kid. Oh, Overkill doesn't have one. All right, great.
Oh.
Well, is it 1992 or later? So Liger has peak human ability, agility, and reflexes. So at
Right.
athletic,
Okay.
stamina, speed, and strength. So
Okay.
going to give you a maybe on the martial artist there.
Right.
Mistech's alterations make him dependent on regular wormhole travel to survive.
Dun dun
It's a rough
dun.
life in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
He's trained in the use of personal weapons, field guns, and tanks, and is a master of ninjutsu. You were dead on.
Yep. You know
I'm
what
giving
though?
it to you.
You know what
Martial
though?
arts was
Tigen
accurate.
Liger.
You know what? He's no stilt man though.
Boom.
Boom. He's no stilt man.
Wait,
he's no
what's-
stilt man.
what's-
As a really tall dude, I can verify
Yeah.
that is a superpower in and of itself.
I'm trying to remember. One of the things I like to do with myself is play trivia, where I try to remember these characters' real names by just like looking them up. And Stiltman's real name, I cannot for the life of me think of it. Amy, do you remember Stiltman's real name, his secret
Not
identity?
even a little.
No, I
Gosh,
don't.
give me the first name.
Let's
and
see. I'll give you his initials. How about that?
Give me his initials. Give me his
I
initials.
closed it. I got to get back to him now.
Stiltman.
Hang on.
There's so much stuff to talk about, guys.
That is definitely true. We have literally encyclopedias worth of information
I think
to discuss.
the 2008 hardcover series is probably my favorite, and it's not even the best, but it's just my favorite out of all of these because there's so many stupid characters. And they did one update, which is volume 14, I think, right there, where they added Hela and some other A through Z characters right at the end
Right.
that they tacked on.
Okay, so I like to think that I know a little bit about, the comic books.
Yeah.
And I've read his name, and this like doesn't ring any bells. It's not even like, oh yeah,
Is
obviously.
it like?
Yeah.
So
It would
his
be really funny
initials.
if this has been retconned. Is not even still
Yeah.
the case.
Well, I mean, I feel like there's only been one stilt man. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's like a mantle that you're
Yeah.
like pleased to take on. All right, his initials are WD.
WD.
And anybody in the chat, feel free. If you get it right in the chat,
Yeah,
I will
yeah.
shout you out that you had the right initial. I've never heard it, honestly.
It's like it's probably like Wilson Derricks or something. Really like
There's an answer in chat, and
Man.
it's from Mr. Pat Duke.
What's the? Well, I mean, if you wrote the book, you don't get to answer. That doesn't count.
But that's impressive though.
We're not interested in actual experts.
Y'all have Google. We just have the.
That's true.
the
We have our brains. You ready for me to?
brains.
Do you want a hint, or
Give
do
me
you want me
the-
to tell you?
First
Three
name.
winning
For-
answers so far. I'm assuming you're all right.
Are they all the
It
same?
sounds
Are they all the
familiar.
same? But see, it doesn't count if you Googled it. That doesn't count. First name is Wilbur.
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 Ooh, that actually does ring a bell. Wilbur.
That's Mr. Ed. You're thinking, brother. That's not. Or
Wilbur.
yeah, it's.
And
Not.
his last name is a D.
Yep.
Wilbur.
I have no shame at all opting out of the
This
fact that I
is
didn't know that one.
amazing.
All right.
Wilbur Denton.
Wilbur Day.
Wilbur Day.
Wilbur Day.
Wow.
That's
that was a good one. All
We
right.
have got to
still,
ask
man.
Felicia if they are related.
Okay. All right. Let's see if I can. Okay.
Well,
All right.
I don't know if she'd be happy or sad that like Stiltman was her uncle. You know what I mean? You're like, yeah, that's right.
Gets
It's
a lot of trouble.
Nova.
Ri-
What's her real name?
I was like Richard Ryder. No, but that's Nova Frankie. Yes,
Frankie
no,
Ray?
she's right.
Frankie Ray. You got
Right,
it.
right.
Dang. Nicely done,
Right.
Amy. All right.
Richard Ryder was the.
Of course. And now it's Sam Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, here's a tough one, but a fun one. Okay. Let's see if you guys remember this one. Quasar. Quasar.
Wendell Vaughn.
Nicely done.
Wendell Vaughn.
Okay.
See,
Yep.
people of the interwebs. See,
you know what's
I'm
great?
here for a reason. I know these things.
Check this out.
I do want to get into, by the way,
Yeah.
how did you get started reading comics? Because
Oh.
every time we have a guest, I want to know, like, what's
Just
your
wanna say-
origin story?
Quasar's middle name is Elvis, apparently. So his name is Wendell Elvis Vaughn.
That.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing.
How did I get started reading comic books? I have two earliest memories of comic books. The first one was walking through a grocery store back when they still sold comics in grocery stores back in times long past. Wait, I'm the wrong. I'm just gonna look at you. Yeah, I'm like, hey, what's up?
that, hey,
No, in times long past when they still sold comic books, and I saw a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic. And it was the strangest thing to me. I just remember thinking, I'm like, that's really
Was this
weird.
before the
black and
cartoon
white
show?
series?
Oh yeah,
Or like the
before
RC
cartoon,
series? Okay.
when they were black and white, you know, and it was all super violent. In
Yeah.
fact, it just so happens I picked up the issue where, spoiler alert, 30 years later, Leonardo kills Shredder.
So that was issue 1.
Yeah, yeah. But I looked
Or
at
was
it.
it-
Well, it was very early, but I put it down, lamentably so. So then fast forward, I'm in elementary school and, you know, comics are cool and everybody's talking about Wolverine, and I bought the first comic I ever purchased was the X-Men graphic novel, God Loves, Man Kills.
Whoa.
Which is not a kid's story at all.
That's
At all.
amazing.
At all. And I'm from the South, so like the, you know, the fundamentalist, like religious
Yeah.
dude, like all of this
You're
hit
like,
like all
I
the
know that
buttons.
guy, not less scary.
Right, yes, exactly. And I was like 8 years old or so.
Oh my God.
And the hook was set.
Man,
The hook was
that's
set.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's
But if
great.
you've never read X-Men,
There it
guys,
is.
look, that was
Exactly.
quick on the draw.
Chief,
Wow.
Chief has our back.
No,
He's amazing.
I feel like Chief is like plugged into the panel, like,
Yeah.
you know, Cyborg right now. But yeah, if you've never read that graphic novel, read it. It is astonishing and not at all for children. Yes, but that was how I got my start. Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So, are you going to ask me am I supposed to answer
Have
the
we
question
done
as
We
this
well?
on
don't
show?
care
Let's see
about
it again anyway.
you or your needs.
Just in case people
Hector.
don't know you yet.
I don't know. I'd like to know.
My entry point was through animation. It was through Spider-Man, the cartoon show in the 90s, and Batman, the animated series, and X-Men. And even before then, reruns of the Fantastic Four, the Hanna-Barbera cartoon. Because my dad would watch TV and go, hey, I remember watching this as a kid. And I think as a way to want to connect with my dad, I saw the Fantastic Four, the little... So then from there, I learned that
Memories.
Spider-Man was friends with them, and that they were all friends with a bunch of different characters.
Amazing Friends?
And Amazing Friends.
What
and
a random show that was.
and I can't-
Spider-Man, Firestar, and Iceman. Like, oh, okay.
I don't remember like a specific comic book that was my first one. I don't remember if I went to the library and got comics, or if they were even there, or if they were at a grocery store. But I remember, like, as I got a little bit older, went to the library and found like history of comic book companies, Marvel and DC, and did the research. Didn't even find those there
You started
yet.
with company research?
Yeah, there was-
Are you
there
like
was a
Dexter
book-
from Dexter's Lab?
Yes. There was a, DD. There was a book that was called Marvel 5 Fabulous Decades of the World's Greatest Comics, and another one called DC 60 Years of the World's Greatest Superheroes. Both of them, I think, written by Lee Daniels, I want to say, was the author's name.
Dude,
And
thank you, Lee Daniels.
Thank you,
And-
Lee
and
Daniel. You
reading-
started all of this.
Reading those made me like aware of people like Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, John Buscema, like all of these characters, like all these people, and learn about them. And Jerry Siegel, Joe Shuster, Bob Kane, Bill Finger, all of these real life people. That then from there I was able to go to comic book stores and reach out my tendrils and know the expertise and stuff. But it all, I think, was all because I was like, oh, Dad, did you know Spider-Man knew the Fantastic Four? And he like didn't give a shit. He's like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. And then by then I
He's
was
like, nerd.
Yeah, I was
You
like-
know, you're like, Dad, I'm 9.
he was pushing a baseball at me like, do you want to play with this? And I was like, no, I'm already over here forever. So
Yeah, look what you've done. Look what you've done. And what about you? What was your gateway book?
Mine, and I go back to this all the time on the show, but it had to be X-Men. Like,
Yeah.
I grew up on, like, my aunt had been stationed in Germany for a while, and she brought back a bunch of, like, asterisks in German.
Cool.
And, like, you know, there were always Archie comics around, but I got hooked on the X-Men animated series. And, like, at some point,
Best intro ever, by the way.
yeah, that, like,
dense. Dense intro.
so faithful even when it wasn't, but like they get the story, they get the spirit of it so right. So yeah, the first ones I remember buying off the rack were like a random issue, the X-Men, not the Uncanny but the other one, like 36, 37, somewhere in there, X-Babies. It was the return of the X-Babies. It
return.
wasn't even the like
Not even
Adam's
like-
X-Babies.
yeah.
It was the return of the X-Babies, and they were like mucking up New York City. And I bought it at the same time as an early issue of Generation X. It was issue 5. It had Jubilee on the cover, and I was like, "What?"
That is a very specific window in time there.
Yeah.
To like you like bring it like down to.
I don't think they
Yes.
were even new. It like I don't know if I was buying them new off the rack or if they were like whatever the random mall store that I was in to look for Star Trek stuff had, like
Right.
just a little display, and I was like, "Oh, X-Men!" And I took them home, and then I got massively obsessed forever.
I think X-Men is probably responsible for more comic fans than like
Yeah.
any other series.
I
And
think
maybe generational as well, but like
sure,
Yeah.
but I think I think anything after 70s X-Men was good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of people, and Amy, I think you and I have had this conversation too. I find that a lot of women get into comic books through X-Men and Batman. Those are the big two groups. Is Batman because of all the great supporting characters who happen to be female, and then X-Men obviously for that incredible cast. That those are the gateway
best
drugs
women in all of
for
comics,
for a lot of people, and could be generational. And again, the cartoons in the '90s, us growing up,
Yeah.
X-Men and Batman. So
Well, I mean,
We've
no
also
mistake.
talked about like that there's this ancient interview I read that I bring it up all the time, but it's so striking to me because it was like seeing that what I thought was a cool accident was actually completely a plan.
Yeah.
That like I've always loved the X-Men. I've always loved the women of the X-Men. And then I read this interview from the early 80s where other Marvel dudes were talking about how they give Claremont shit.
Yeah.
And they weren't saying it in what they thought was a mean way.
Yeah.
But they were just being dudes, being like, oh, it's so funny, you know, all our little office jokes. He's always trying to put them in jeans and we blah blah blah. And the other thing he does, and one of them starts this sentence, and the other one chimes in and finishes it with him. Is there any reason? Other guy jumps in. This character couldn't be a woman.
Yeah.
And I was just
Yeah.
like, God bless you, Chris Claremont.
Yeah, he did
Yep.
it.
You were doing it
He
on
did.
purpose.
He tried, yeah.
I did not know.
Yeah.
Like,
You know, you talk about the animation as a gateway. Even though I was reading comics long before, it was the Batman the Animated Series show and in the Justice League, you know, the full run. That's what got me into DC Comics. So
Oh,
I was a Marvel
absolutely.
guy.
Absolutely.
You know, like I was a Marvel guy through and through.
Can
Yeah.
you hand me this book
And
right here?
this
That
one here?
under that?
Here?
That one there, yeah.
All right.
This is the Marvel Cinematic Universe guidebook right here, which has like a bunch of entries from like the movies. Like it's
speaking
got
of entry points,
it's got a picture of Robert Downey Jr. in it. Like this is the Marvel Cinematic
us the
Universe. I think that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is the most successful film adaptation of comic book shit. And it has become one of the most successful
you
franchises.
want to hand that to me? That'll probably be easier.
I
Exactly.
think like
No,
and
he got it right when it
No,
moved.
sorry.
Here,
missed.
Okay,
back
Man,
over
we're
here.
coming
Back
back.
over here.
Yes, yes.
Look at this.
No,
You get-
but see,
you
I'm gonna
get,
keep throwing it off. Yeah, you can't focus on anything,
You
can
get
you?
look at that. You get Captain America's shields in here. And
Yep.
So the Marvel Cinematic Universe is it's just like it's unignorable. You cannot ignore it because of how well they plan this thing, right?
Yep.
So I rank that up there with one of my favorite franchises of all time.
Yep.
The DC animated universe,
Yes.
better.
Definitely.
Blows it out of the water.
Absolutely.
From the Batman the animated series, Superman the animated series, Static Shock, Batman Beyond, Justice League Unlimited, that whole thing.
Have you seen the
They
new?
nailed it.
Have you
They
seen the
nailed
new
it.
movie Batman and Harley Quinn?
I haven't yet.
It's good.
It's basically in continuity. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Great.
Nice.
I laughed so
Great.
hard during that movie because it's quasi continuity
Sure,
with the
sure,
animated
sure.
series.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. It hit all those same buttons again.
I love it.
Into like even
I
just
love it.
hear Kevin Conroy. Like I could
Yeah.
listen to him read from a phone book.
Yeah.
And I
He's
would be
Batman.
happy.
You read a comic
No,
book,
he
he's
is Batman.
Where's the handbook of the DC animated universe?
There isn't one.
What the heck?
There isn't one.
They're
I
like,
would
it's just our
I would love
comics.
one. And you know what's here's a little side note about me. Like I got to go to DC Comics today, which is awesome because my life is awesome and weird. And I grabbed an image that was sitting on a friend of mine's desk because they were printing some stuff out to pitch some stuff. But is there a
Did
poster?
you steal
that-
some stuff from the
that-
DC universe, DC offices that we
that-
can put on the internet right now?
That
Sure,
little
yeah.
dark side poster,
That
wherever.
could be from anywhere, really.
Nobo grabbed
like
that.
I mean, it's whether or not he was a DC today and has NDA level stuff with him now.
I didn't steal it.
It's neither here nor there.
I was jokingly like, "Can I take this?"
Borrowed.
Because they had a bunch of
then you ran.
printouts from who's who in the DC universe. They had a bunch of them, and they were all specifically.
Borrowed.
No!
They were all
What?
specifically Jack Kirby character printouts. I'm not even
What?
kidding. And I jokingly was like, "Can I have these?" And he was like, he was on the phone. He's like, "Yeah, go ahead." And I was like, "What?" Came back later. I'm like, "Hey, what are these for?" And he was like, "Oh, just printed them out because we're whatever." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And he goes, "Did you want to grab one?" And I was like, "Are you serious?" So I grabbed this.
Dun dun dun.
I'm gonna frame the hell out of this. This is
Absolutely,
Darkseid,
that is Darkseid.
art
That's
by
him.
Jack Kirby. But this is a who's who of the DC universe, and like the who's who and the encyclopedias are my favorite thing. So when I saw
Yes.
this there, and I was like, I'm gonna be talking about this later today.
Yes.
I'm gonna take this and I will have it like framed because it's amazing.
The universe has smiled upon us.
That
But I
was one
love
of the
this.
things people specifically praise about the Who's Who series is that they made attempts in a bunch of those, especially that 80s one, to try and get the creators to do the actual illustrations.
Or whoever the artist was at the time who was like working on that character.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
read me some info
I'm
on
glad they
Darkseid
give
here.
no alter ego for Darkseid, because I was like, the name should be Darkseid and occupation Darkseid.
Yeah.
Did you see occupation though?
But his occupation is dictator, would-be ruler of the universe.
Love it.
Twice
He's
married.
a man
Twice married.
busy.
Yeah.
Twice married?
Yeah, exactly.
incredible.
He can rule the universe, but he can't make a relationship
So
work.
here's another example.
It's tough. It's tough.
I know.
loving the
Well,
public.
Orion and Calabac are both greatly disappointing, and so that's. I understand.
Another example of like getting the artist who was kind of known for working on the character to do the entry was back in the day they got Frank Miller to draw Elektra for the official handbook of the Marvel Universe.
Oh yeah.
So there's Frank Miller's Elektra next to a really happening Elektra.
He
He's
is
just
like,
into it.
hey.
Hey. But that's really fun. But what was I going to say? I mean, that was just awesome
that
to
is
be able
super
to
sweet.
grab that and print
This
that out.
is friggin' amazing.
difference
you don't
is-
need this back ever.
No, I mean,
do.
I didn't see what happened. I mean, it got misplaced.
But like,
accidents happen.
Look at that great art.
Right.
I could print
Yeah.
these things out, just a page from this thing, and it's art to me.
Yeah.
The main difference between the two series from Marvel and from DC. So Marvel had the official handbook of the Marvel Universe. DC had Who's Who in the DC Universe, and here's the first
Let's
issue
flip one
of
of those
that.
open.
Go for it. Go for it. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
This
But-
is the first one, which means, can I just read down the alphabetical list?
Please.
Because is a thing I love about encyclopedia
Mm-hmm.
styling, is that you just get the back-to-backs. You got Abel, Abnegazar,
Gesundheit.
Wrath and Gast, Abracadabra, Adam Strange, Aegeus, Airwave 1, and Airwave 2.
I mean, can't leave out Airwave 2. Airwave 2. Come on.
Yeah, Airwave 2 had roller skates.
I
Yes.
am about to look this up because I do not know who this is, but Ali Cat Abra.
Ooh, Ali Katabra is a part of like an animal-themed cartoony superhero team.
Like
from,
the Captain Carrot people?
Yeah. She's an ally of Captain Carrot.
That's
Yes.
amazing.
Which I think I have an explanation for that in here somewhere too, but keep going.
All-Star
Amy.
Yes, please.
Squadron, pages 8 through 9. All-Star Squadron Headquarters, page 10. Amazing Man, 11. Amazo, 12. Very different. Ambush Bug, 13.
Amazo's an android. That's a completely different
An
thing.
Amazing Man is like a black guy who's
Right.
retconned into the Justice Society era All-Winners Squad or All-Star Squadron, I think.
Which
it
I
was.
think Amazing Man is both the best and laziest name ever,
And it's
by the way.
hyphenated, which is just weird. Amazing Man.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So,
it-
Amethyst Princess of Gemworld. I'm only halfway through
Yeah,
this.
It's a lot of
letter, by the
information
way.
to keep track of.
Angle Man, Animal Man, also hyphenated.
Angle
that didn't
Man.
last.
Was he a square?
Anthro, Apocalypse, the place. Aquagirl and Aqualad. Aquaman,
Aqualad and
Eric,
Aqua-
Son of Thunder. Arcane, Arian, Lord of Atlantis. Arkham Asylum gets its own page. 2 pages on the Atari Force.
The
2
Atari
pages on Atlantis. Atom 1. Atom 2.
2.
Atomic Knight, Atomic Skull, and Oron. And here is the cover. The beautiful
There-
fold-out,
that is-
two-sided cover.
Fantastic.
Oh, and the introductory text by Marv Wolfman and Len Wein.
Please, please.
Welcome to the first issue of Who's Who, the definitive directory of the DC Universe, a 24-volume compendium of the various people, powers, and places which have been presented to you during DC Comics' first 50 years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome.
I'm real excited about this.
Yeah, you can look up some characters, but to explain Ali Cat Abra, I believe she's a denizen of Earth 26, which is explained right here in my Multiversity Guidebook,
That's how you
This
learn
was
things.
Damien's pick.
which
Yep.
has a map of all of the different parallel multiversal planets and worlds that exist within the DC multiverse.
That's
And
a pretty.
This shows
That's a
you-
pretty new book because it's
Yes.
got the ad for Throne of Atlantis on the
Yeah,
back.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
like just
Oh,
a year
yeah.
or two.
couple
yeah.
years.
Yeah.
And so right there on the bottom left that you see there is Earth 26, full of Captain Carrot and a bunch of other animal characters, and the other Earths that they have listed in this
Like
thing.
Alley Cat Abra.
Ali Cat Abra. You know, something that came up on Monday on Ask Your
Yeah.
Black Geek Friend
Yeah.
every Monday, 8:30, was, and we answered it, but I want to hear your answer just in case,
Okay.
is why is Earth 616 referred to as
Oh.
Earth 616?
616.
Yes.
That's a
Yeah,
what's
great
the 616?
question. You know
Yes.
what? I can answer that with an encyclopedia. And I
Yes.
think I'll do that.
Well,
Volume
I'm,
one covers
I'm
it.
interested to see if your answer is different than the answer that we arrived at on the show.
Here's volume 1.
This is so we're
Not that came even before this, and I
Okay.
don't think that it got that geeky.
All
So
right.
this right there, hold that up real quick, Amy,
Yeah.
and the Spider-Man one.
Marvel Encyclopedia.
In like 2000,
Spider-Man.
like the early 2000s, Marvel put out these really nice hardcovers called the Marvel Encyclopedia. Then some certain characters got their own. You had the, well, let's just move this over here. You had the Spider-Man edition, but before then was just the general Marvel Encyclopedia, sorry, thank you, with some art by Alex Ross there on the cover. And then eventually, like, the Fantastic Four got his own. I think Hulk got his own. And these were, like, before some of the movies were coming out, so I think they were trying to just, like, educate the audience a little bit. But they didn't do the deep dive. This was the deep dive, and I'm going to try to explain what Universe 616 is, because right here on the first page, I think that they'll actually explain what it is. Let me see if I can find.
As you can see, kids'
Oh my
encyclopedias are a good way to learn.
They start out with the caveats and apologies, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Naturally, there is no way to undertake a project of such immense proportions as this without making a mistake or two along the way. There's also no way to avoid making certain decisions which, for example, might contradict some story written in 1954. Be aware that this was intentional. From time to time, we will alter or ignore certain past stories in order to present a general consensus of a character as he is perceived today. For the sake of continuity, that one story simply did not happen.
Yep.
1984, and they are laying down some ground rules. And it's funny because a year later, they're going to completely change their universe. The same people, Marv Wolfman.
Yes. Yeah. Here's another favorite example of mine. In the original official handbook of the Marvel Universe from 1984 or 5 or 6 or whatever, you got this great entry for Hawkeye. Get a load of this. Clint Barton. They designed this costume. This Hawkeye right here. They were going to, thank you. They put this costume, and it first premiered in his official handbook guide entry, and he was going to show up in this in an Avengers comic book. Then they decided to change the costume. So the only time this costume ever appears with this like cool one sleeve is in the official handbook of the Marvel Universe, and it was in color, obviously, when it came out. This is a reprint. But I think that kind of stuff is awesome. And then in a later volume, which is in this book, you can read like where they're like, sorry, we messed up. We changed Hawkeye's costume, so that's already inaccurate.
Yep,
That's
there
right.
it is, before it even went to press.
People are answering the question in chat, but we're going to find your official
We answered it.
explanation.
Yes.
I just have a real quick message for anybody that's
wasn't
watching
gonna
on Twitch. Make sure that you do not refresh your page because Twitch is starting to have issues again.
No!
Don't refresh.
You might not be able to come back.
Right.
Don't refresh your page.
Yeah. Don't
Great.
leave us ever. You can't come back.
Great question from Bard in the Yard. Are we still doing a 5-minute topic tonight? We are, and we will need ideas from y'all, so please start shooting those at me.
Yes.
And if I can tear my eyes away from these encyclopedias, we're going to do it. Although, Liz, what did you think about my idea? Is it a good 5-minute or just something fun to do before the 5 minutes? I pitched an exercise earlier.
Type it into the thing for me.
Okay.
I was about to say, I give blanket consent. I'm in. I don't care
Yeah.
what it was. Like, I'm in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
To explain the 616 universe.
616.
Marvel proper, it's called Universe 616. Right here in Volume 2, one of my favorites, of the official handbook of the Marvel Universe 2008 edition. In the back, they have a omniverse, a glossary of terms, and they explain what an omniverse is, what the cosmos is, what a dimension is, what a reality is, what a universe is, what a multiverse is.
I mean, that's
And
like very
finally-
meta. That's like, it's like 6,000 years of
Dude.
philosophy, and they're like, well, let's
Right
just
here,
tell you what reality
for the
is.
kids. Earth
Yeah.
616. Who, what, where, and why. In a Captain Britain strip written by Alan Moore, the hero was involved in traveling to a number of alternate Earths and encountered being so used to dimensional travel that they had numbered each reality the way we number highways. In Daredevil's number 7, page 8, commentators at the trial of Saturn speculated as to which alternate Earth Captain Britain originated from, listing a variety of numbered realities before his home reality was identified on page 9 by the defendant as being Earth 616, thereby providing the designator for the mainstream Marvel Earth, which has since been used in titles such as Excalibur, Exiles, Uncanny X-Men, Wisdom, Marvel Knights 4, X-Man, Untold Tales of the New Universe, Marvel Adventures Fantastic Four, Spectacular Spider-Man in the UK, 1602, and others, including, of course, the official handbook of the Marvel Universe. Numerous theories as to why that specific number was chosen have proliferated across the net since then, ascribing various hidden meanings to it. However, we recently asked his daughter, Leah Moore, and her partner, John Repion, if they could ask Alan and solve the mystery once and for all, which they graciously did. The response, 616, quote, was just a random number of no significance chosen because people always seem to be talking about Earth 2 or Earth 4, but never any higher numbers, end quote. That's it. Earth 616 is the shortest and most concise way we have of saying mainstream Marvel Earth/reality/universe, and we continue to use this designation in the handbooks when we need to distinguish characters from that Earth from any extra-dimensional counterparts. To say our Earth would be wrong. Last time we checked, our New York City wasn't home to a range of superhero teams. To say Marvel Universe is inexact. The future timelines of Spider-Girl, the Guardians of the Galaxy, Killraven, etc. are all Marvel universes. Additionally, we give Earth designators for characters from other realities. While some timelines could be briefly distinguished using the names of the series or imprint they originated from, like Earth X, Earth MC2, Earth Mutant X, many more cannot. The meaning of Earth DOFP, Days of Future Past, is no less confusing to a comics newcomer than Earth 811 is. There are a few distinct Earth 2099 ADs, and there are a half dozen or more Days of Future Past and Age of Apocalypse realities. More importantly, some alternate timeline characters have multiple distinct versions running around. Killraven, for example, his original series, the version seen in Avengers Forever, and the version from his 2004 miniseries. Or Hyperion. Oh my God, Hyperion, the Squadron Supreme version, the Supreme Power version, the Evil Exiles version, the Earth 616 version, the older version who traveled to Earth X, and the 15 or so more seen in Squadron Supreme Hyperion number 2. By providing a designator number with any such character, a reader can compare mentions of Killraven or Hyperion in different handbook entries and know that if the designator matches, it is the same Killraven or Hyperion. There are whole groups, such as the Time Variance Authority, the former Time Breakers, and the Agents of Merlin, former Masters of the Omniverse, succeeded by his daughter Roma and more recently by Sage/Tessa, dedicated to mapping and identifying these various realities. The most commonly used system in the core continuum designation, the core continuum being the realm ruled by the omniversal Magistor or Magistrix. Omniversal organizations
I've always
such as
said
these.
Magister. I think I'm doing it wrong.
No, I
Magister.
think Magistor might be. It doesn't matter. Whatever.
It is.
Omniversal organizations
You know what,
such
I'm
as
switching
these
to your side.
do not name an entire reality
I'm switching
based
to-
on a single
yeah.
inhabitant, a single event, or a certain year. The system by which they choose their numbers remains unknown. So there's one other thing that I want to go over.
Can we just...
I mean,
Yeah, that's not even.
that is the answer we arrived at, less encyclopedically.
But isn't that great?
But that is
it.
the
That's
answer
it.
we
You
arrived
got
at.
literally
questions?
solved
It's got answers.
A nerd
It's true.
debate. Can one of you guys read this next bit, which when I came across this in this encyclopedia, like, kind of blew my mind and made me understand comics better. So,
All right.
Which bit?
Dave,
No.
just this paragraph.
Oh, just me right here. All right,
Yeah.
all right, here we go.
Get a load of this, y'all.
This paragraph.
Get a load of this.
Earth 616 reality features a sliding time scale, meaning that rather than being fixed to any date in history, the modern era or age of heroes, starting with the Fantastic Four space flight and continuing on to the present, is instead a roughly 13-year period of time that slides forward. The space flight stays around 13 years ago, regardless of the current year. This means that while Fantastic Four #1 came out in 1961, the characters in the story have not aged 47 years since that story. While there are some distinct aberrations, such as Peter Parker's sophomore through senior high school years occurring over 2 to 3 years in real time, as of 2008, you can roughly assign 4 to 5 years of real time to each year in the Marvel Universe. While some characters such as Captain America, Nick Fury, Wolverine, etc. have real ties to certain periods in history, many references to dates are topical, meaning they were only used to be relevant to the story at the time it was printed.
Yep.
There are those who speculate that this sliding time scale and time comparison is in fact being caused by a reality manipulator inside or outside the Earth 616
Amy,
dimension.
they have an explanation for it. They have an in-world explanation for it.
Dun, dun,
Like,
dun.
isn't that amazing? That's great. And in these encyclopedias, the Justice League are even mentioned once, because there's a Justice League Avengers crossover.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so if you read the Avengers entry,
Yeah, let's find it.
which is right here, I'm going to find it for you, Amy.
I'm a Superman fan, but I got really upset when Thor's hammer hit him in the face and he got up again, because that would have flatlined Superman.
'cause magic,
because
right?
He's susceptible to magic.
He's
yeah,
susceptible
that's,
to magic.
Yeah, that was nerd rage for me.
That was nerd rage.
Even though I do feel like in
Was
an actual fight,
post-crisis Superman equally susceptible to magic?
I mean, yes, but it's changed so many times. I
Yeah.
feel
Wait,
like the
what
magic.
year was it when Who got to Superman?
I
Let me
feel-
find S.
I feel like the magic vulnerability
Look
has
this
been
up.
fairly consistent, though.
You need a Superman. You want a here's a volume 22.
Post-crisis?
So the Superman entry. I think it's post-crisis because
December
there is
'86. Let's see what they're saying.
there's
Let's
two
see.
versions of.
I mean, we'll know
Superman
because
here.
if he was ever Superboy, it's not post-crisis, right?
Or, of course, the good people of the interwebs in chat, feel free to correct us, because they're like, it was this.
I know, right?
Yes.
Superman 1 and Superman 2.
Yes.
4 pages
Ah.
on. Oh, look at Star Sapphire.
Yes. Oh.
One of her dumber outfits, but I
Wow.
love her.
Exactly. Very powerful. Yes, I'm
my
standing by my claim, people of the interwebs, that if Thor's hammer hits Superman in the face, he's going to sleep. Yeah. But I also stand by the claim that the Justice League would run over the Avengers in almost any incarnation. So debate, people of the interwebs, and make sure you at me in it, at B. Dave Walters. And I will tell you why the Justice League would run over the Avengers while they're looking this up. Yeah, I said it.
Hey guys,
I meant it.
speaking of the internet,
Yes.
we got an update. There are guidebooks for the animated DC series.
Yes!
What?
Look at that. Your life is a lie. What else are they not
great.
telling us?
This is great. I think I've seen these. They almost look like how to draw books. Yeah,
Yes.
but they're from DK.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There it
Isn't that
is.
Scott Beatty? Did
They
he
will get
go
tracked
write
down.
A bunch of comics?
Yeah.
They will get you. Where did that
Yeah,
picture come
he
from?
did.
Somebody's like right on top of things. Like props to you, Chief.
Yeah.
Do you
well,
guys
this is
have
heads up
those?
via
Yes, I know.
Elizabeth Horan,
Because-
aka Liz Horan.
Let me just say, if those books are in this building and they mysteriously disappear tonight,
Yeah.
it was not at all Hector. He was with me.
I could even nerd
That's-
out more and go, well,
Right.
those aren't all the way up to date because Superman didn't look like that in Justice League Unlimited. He looked a little bit wider and he had
Yep.
a line under it. Like that's already
Yep.
like no, that's from 1996, not 2004. I need the
Right.
2004.
Yes.
You know, but that's great. All right.
Well, but
Y'all,
that's
it's
but
the
there's snapshots in
1986
time.
entry on
Yes.
Suicide Squad.
Yes, an 86 entry on Suicide Squad.
Oh my God.
Oh wow. But hey, folks, if you know of any incarnation of Superman that was not vulnerable to magic post-crisis, let us know. Let us know. Yes, hit us in the
It's
chat.
amazing.
I know, but okay, sorry, I will. Oh, there he is, Champion. Okay,
Champion, that's
so
your guy.
this was a foundational entry for me. And every time we do this, every time we hold the books up, like our wonderful crew has to like scramble and refocus all of the cameras to get them in for us. So they're like, please stop doing this. But this, I remember this from when I was so very young. This was a fantastic thing. I love this dude, Trico Slatteris, the champion of the universe. This was like peak old school wrestling time when he came along too. It was so great. He's one of the elders of the universe.
Yes.
Yes, please proceed.
I found.
Here's an interesting way of putting this. Like all creatures, Superman is vulnerable to magic. They're taking the strong, sarcastic argument where they're like,
Right.
what, magic doesn't work on you?
I know, they're like, obviously, come on. Yeah.
It would.
So
yeah.
I'm going to say this is an interesting, like, vulnerability to
Cop out.
magic
Yeah.
and crisis.
Yeah.
I'm
But you gotta have
curious.
it.
I feel like Kryptonite and magic are fairly consistent because that's one of the problems with that character is he's gotten so powerful at times. You're like, what's the point? See, I'm going to find her. I'm finding cyanide books. I'm finding cyanide books now.
What?
Yeah.
What's
What?
cool about the Who's Who is in the back, on that back cover, Amy, they would tell you where you could find those characters in like comic books that were coming out right then. That's something that the
Heck,
official handbook of the Marvel Universe never did. But where
Yes.
can we find cyanide?
Where can we find cyanide?
Cyanide will return to battle the outsider.
Ooh, so then you know to look up Outsiders comics.
There it is.
Yeah.
Circa, what year was this roughly?
Oh man. Okay, so this is 1986, and this is they're
86.
clarifying my crisis question.
Yeah.
Because Superman 2 concludes his rebirth in Man of Steel 5 and 6 this month.
Oh.
They're in the middle of the post-crisis reinvention as they're doing this.
Yeah, because that's John Byrne art on the cover. Which
It
again,
is.
Yep.
another thing, those beautiful wraparound covers. You got to open that bad boy up, Amy. Look at
Sorry
that.
about manhandling your
All
book
the
here.
characters. No, go ahead. It's fine. I mean, that's what's so great about it.
There it is.
All right there. So
There it is.
here is an entry. I've got an entry for the Avengers.
Yes.
And in the early 2000s, they went on some adventures. Check this out. When Kang the Conqueror and the new Scarlet Centurion, Kang's son Marcus, waged an all-out war of conquest against Earth, the Avengers led Earth's defenses. During the war, Jack of Hearts joined the team. Avengers government liaison Dwayne Freeman died in Kang's assault on Washington, and Hank Pym resumed his controversial costumed guise as Yellow Jacket after yet another identity crisis. Kang actually succeeded in conquering Earth for a time, but an Avengers-led resistance soon overthrew Kang and liberated the planet. Here we go. Around the same time, the Avengers teamed with a League of Heroes.
Are you rooting against the Avengers? Wait, hold on. You just went to them liberating the planet. Whose side are you on?
I mean, if I
PJ
can't, I mean,
Walters.
someone's got to advocate for Kang. Somebody, you know?
Kang.
Exactly.
Kang,
This is-
Kang the Conqueror He's a Richards, right? He's Nathaniel Richards, possibly, maybe like a descendant of Reed Richards. Yeah.
See, let me just say,
Wait,
it
who goes
is
up in
not.
the king,
No,
though?
no,
What's that?
it is not world
goes up in the
domination.
king?
It's not world domination.
Just a future guy.
It's world optimization.
World optimization.
World optimization.
So-
that's all.
Just a future guy.
Around the
Just a
same
specific
time,
future guy.
the Avengers teamed with a league of heroes from a divergent cosmos to save both their universes from a cosmic scholar turned semi-omnipotent destroyer.
Yeah, that could have been anybody, though, right?
Come on, that's obviously a league of heroes. That's the Justice League. That's as much as they could reference them in a Marvel
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Marvel book.
Yeah. Did the amalgam books ever figure into any of these?
No.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I really enjoyed all the amalgam
But
books.
they should
Especially, like
see
the
See
Dark
that
Claw.
DC thing where they're like, we feel free to ignore any story
Yeah,
we
yeah.
want.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's it.
No, but like Dark Claw was super cool.
See, there's not even that many amalgam
My
comic
Gen
books.
X got matched
No,
up
they-
with
they
like
all-
Dial H for Hero or something, and I was
Yeah.
like, what is this?
No,
X for
no,
Hero.
they just did like the 2 runs. Like, I
two
mean,
runs.
there's
So, like-
literally like 2 Dark Claw comics, and like most of them were just one shots.
I'm sure that there's databases of that
Spider
shit
Boy.
on the internet, but I would love
Yeah.
just like a book that was like, here's the 90s where Marvel and DC teamed up after they had their characters fight, and people voted for who would win, and then they teamed up and merged characters. Here's Wolverine and Batman merged.
I
into
have the
Dark
amalgam
Claw.
graphic novels. I do. Like, I
that's
mean,
awesome.
they're the.
But I just want to. I don't want to read the comic. I just
I
want the
didn't know they
Oh,
did
you just
collected
that's
editions.
you
Wait,
just
hold
want
on.
to print it out Wikipedia. Yeah.
Yeah.
They did collected editions for the Amalgam comics?
Yeah, I'll
I've
bring
seen
them
all
in.
the
I think they
singles.
did.
but-
Yeah, I'll bring
I
and
think
show
they
it to
were
you.
called like
Well,
Marvel
but-
DC crossover classics, volumes 1, 2, 3, whatever.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But they were the collections of the amalgams, not the fights that led up to it. Like the super
okay,
garbage
so
one
I think
with it was Wolverine and Lobo, and they fell behind the bar.
Yeah,
you know, and they
Wolverine
were like,
won.
oh, it's a draw.
This is probably a personal retcon, but like I for sure bought those. Those
Yes.
might have been before, like
Right.
my officially dated getting into comics period.
Well,
but
we
I
learned, but we've
100%
learned
bought
there's a
those.
13-year window that slides. You know, so when you did it is
Yeah.
when the story necessitates you having done it.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm with you on that.
But
Yes.
you're also Team Kang, so I'm not sure I should be trusting
I'm
your
just
opinions
saying,
on time manipulation.
I'm advocating for the blue man. That's all I'm saying. No, he's like purple. No, I'm advocating for the purple man. Yes.
face.
Yes, he's got a purple face. Yes, exactly.
So,
So, who's going to stick up for him if not me?
Okay, and we
Not me.
are going to do a challenge before we get to the 5 minutes. My idea that I pitched was that we've got to grab one of the thicker ones each, and then we're going to need some random numbers.
I'm going to go way over here.
Ooh,
There
Book
it
of
is.
the Dead.
Yeah, Book of the Dead.
Oh,
there he
that's
is.
gonna be good.
I like where this is headed.
I'll
well,
take-
actually, it's going to go very poorly because these people all got killed.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
So
I'll take this one.
this could be
Deluxe
bad.
edition,
This could be negative.
take-
8 through 14.
I'll take this one. This is the original Handbook of the Marvel Universe, 1 through 15.
That's
All right.
cheating.
Just cheat. You want me to take? I'll
No,
do
no,
this
no,
one.
no,
I'll
please,
do
please,
this one.
please.
I'll
You
do
brought
deluxe.
these. You brought these books. We'll let fate decide.
Okay.
We'll let
like
fate
it.
decide.
So what's the challenge, Amy? What are we
yes.
doing?
The challenge is going to get way harder because I thought there would be page numbers.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Hold on.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
Sorry.
Well, we'll just flip it open. We'll just flip it open.
Yeah, okay. It was going to be random numbers, but it's going to be flipping it open.
Yep.
First page you flip to, pick
How
out,
about- oh, if
you get
how
the
about
powers.
this? Can we get letters from the internet to go
Sure.
like, you know, well, no, they're usually.
Yeah,
Oh
They're not all
man, you
the
started
same,
filling
yeah.
chat with random numbers as soon as I said that.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Oh, that's
what
so
happens.
sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're not all A to Z though. That's
Do you
the problem.
guys want some that have pages? Is that the thing? Because like, we could change this up to
Well,
some with pages.
it's funniest with these.
Well,
but,
you know
like,
what's bizarre? Because this one has page numbers at the beginning and then page
Sure.
numbers nowhere in it though.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, they're like read the letters.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
could. All right.
This is
Well,
why
then,
you test your ideas, people.
It's true.
Okay.
But this is real time. You're seeing real time
Real-time.
geekery.
let's just flip. Okay. So what's
Yeah.
the challenge, Amy?
Yeah. I'm sticking with the
Even
Book of
this
the
thing
Dead.
doesn't have page numbers.
It doesn't. That's
Yeah.
fine. They're like
gotta
they're
go
like
by letters.
Okay.
they're like you got to go by
You're
feeling.
gonna
It's
do
art.
randomly open, and you get the first random open is your powers.
First random open is
Okay.
powers. Are we doing it?
Second random open is your origin.
Origin.
Third random open is your costume.
All right.
Name your
Powers,
hero and tell us
origin,
about him.
Costume.
Powers, origins, costume.
All right. I have the
Powers of the Wraith. I've got the powers of the Wraith, who was a policeman and later a vigilante. I feel like that means I got no powers. I feel like that's what I'm.
Oh God,
I'm
I have
getting
the
here.
powers of Toad.
Let's see. All right, so I got the powers of the Wraith. We'll come back to.
All right. I got a good one. Mine's already set.
Oh yeah.
So my powers are.
Oh, I do have powers.
I wear a full body suit of electrically insulated steel alloy chainmail, protecting me against ballistic impact up to and including that of a .45 caliber bullet. The suit weighs about 60 pounds.
What the?
I possess no superhuman powers, but I am an above average athlete with some knowledge of hand-to-hand combat.
Just like real life.
I've got a bunch of other weapons and crap. I also ride a black bat-winged horse that I call Hell Horse.
That's pretty metal, though.
The steed originally belonged to Nathan Garrett, the first character like me of the 20th century, and was mutated to its present state by Victoria Frankenstein. The horse is able to lift aloft about 270 pounds beyond its own weight and fly at a top speed of about 50 miles per hour for up to 1 hour before it needs to rest.
Extremely fast.
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
That means that horse is incapable of flying with me on it. Yeah, I'm like, your horse is kind of lame. All right.
Here's my. Are we doing powers?
Well,
across the board
let me lay my powers out then
Okay,
here.
okay.
So my character possesses various psionic powers. He can take control of the mind of one other person at a time. He could cast illusions in the minds of one or more witnesses at once. By this means, he could make reality itself appear to change in incredible ways, or he could make himself appear to become invisible. He could also mentally induce pain in a victim without causing him any actual physical injury, which I really do with words, by the way. And he could even affect Spider-Man's mind in such a way as to shield himself from his detection of his spider sense. He could also telekinetically levitate matter. The limits of this ability are unknown. He was capable of reading the minds of other people. This is a pretty sweet power set.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is like what I would actually want.
That's
if
pretty great.
How did you end up in
powers.
the Book of the Dead?
Because apparently I'm not. No known immunity to bullets is the problem there.
All right, Amy, what are your powers?
All right, I have. Did they actually neatly separate them out in this version of the thing?
It's like very at the very
Powers,
inside.
weapons,
There's a known
abilities
power section.
At the end?
Oh, it's because you have 2 pages.
Deluxe, baby.
Oh.
Deluxe edition.
All right.
on, I'm gonna
My strength
fashion
level is
some bookmarks.
superhuman strength, primarily in the lower torso. Can
Wait,
lift
say that again? I'm sorry, huh?
the strength level, superhuman strength, primarily in his lower torso.
You mean in her lower torso?
In her
Ow!
lower-
Yeah,
yes.
go
This
Amy.
is what I like.
Abdominal strength.
I like where this is headed.
I'm guessing is what that means. That's very confusing. He can lift or press. She can lift or press approximately 1 ton with the arms, and leg press approximately 3 tons under optimal conditions. A mutant with superhuman leaping ability has been observed to reach an altitude of 24 feet and cover a distance on the ground of 36 feet in the same single
Are you
leap.
reading Kangaroo's
I'm like, is
entry?
this
Who are you
Batroc the
reading?
Leaper? Like who?
Oh, it's Toad.
Mortimer Toynbee, a.k.a.
Right.
Toad.
Just the
No
tongue,
definite
the
limit to his
tongue, too.
leaping ability is yet known. Although the Toad usually stands in a crouching position, can stand erect if he wishes, if he wants to.
Yeah.
You're
If
not
it
the, you're
feels
not,
like
you're
it.
not the boss of Toad.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
everyone is the boss of Toad. Come on.
Yeah.
His best recent story is him as a janitor. It's the saddest.
Oh, man.
It was a real good story, though. Unusually flexible spine enables him to crouch continually without damage. Great. So no long-term posture problems for Toad.
That's you get good save on the chiropractic bills.
No knowledge of hand-to-hand combat. However, powers enable him to execute a leaping kick of superhuman force at an opponent. A surprisingly great knowledge of advanced technology.
Surprisingly.
Wow. Even the encyclopedia is
mean.
underestimating Toad.
Toad.
Yeah, they're like, oh, yeah, hey, bro. all right.
Thanks to his studies of machinery in the possession of Arcade. That makes it unsurprising, doesn't it? Arcade, Magneto, and the Stranger. However, not himself talented at developing technological devices. This is the saddest, meanest encyclopedia entry.
It's true.
He tried to make a thing once. It was a failure, I guess.
You know, somebody just drew that assignment and they were like, I gotta write about Toad. They're like, he's kind of lame.
All right, so what do I
Here's-
say? Second one is your origin?
Origin. Here's
Yep.
my origin.
Second's origin, okay.
The birth and early life of Hector are shrouded in mystery. He was born in one of Earth's alternate futures of the 30th century. And being a
Checks
man
out.
of adventure in a time of world peace and prosperity, he was discontented. Discovering a time machine on the ruins of one of his ancestors' property, the man who would call himself Hector embarked upon a life of conquest and adventure. That's my origin.
Well, dang!
I think I'm a bad guy on a hell horse steed.
Mine,
A little bit.
yeah, mine doesn't quite work, but I'm gonna go for it because I have powers, but then I got a costume-based person, but I
Okay.
could get powers from the costume.
True.
That's fine. We're
True.
going in with it. All right. As one of my factories was being dismantled, the bankrupted industrialist noticed a strange phenomenon. One of his poorly constructed experimental radar devices had begun to malfunction. Casting a brilliant beam of light, it caused any iron components upon which it shone to begin to instantly appear to melt. I'm glad this says appear to melt. Like maybe it melted, maybe it didn't. Like, right? I analyzed the device in my private laboratory and eventually discovered the underlying principle behind the malfunction. I redesigned the unit so that it could be strapped to my chest. Equipped with this weapon, I began my career by striking at the factories owned by Tony Stark. And then I got hired by Baron Zemo, and then apparently I too am not immune to bullets.
You are super dead.
Because there's a picture of just like a bullet going through.
Yeah.
It's the melter, by the way, for those of you that are going to go insane, really trying to figure out
And
like
that's
who
not the same guy as Paste Pot Pete, is it? The melter?
Maybe. We have an encyclopedic entry for it. Yeah.
Aren't they two different members of that same
Masters
like?
of Evil? I think so. The Frightful
Yes.
Four? Maybe. Yeah, what's your origin, Amy?
Get an origin.
Guys, I don't know if we want to get into this.
Uh-oh. Is it
It just
weird
got
and
dark,
sad?
huh?
My origin is long and complicated.
Give us a first paragraph.
That's why I just took a chunk out of
Yeah.
mine. Yeah. That's,
Give us a chunk.
All right.
Are you reading? Are you about to read Hate Monger, who's like the clone of Adolf Hitler?
I got a great
no,
costume.
I'm
though.
not.
Then you're
It's
fine.
not.
Yeah.
You're fine.
But
You do have a great costume.
this character was the daughter of Gemma Sinclair, a black cleaning woman at the Los Alamos Atomic Proving Grounds in New
this is-
Mexico.
This is
like-
already super racist.
I like where this is headed.
This is
No.
going
Great.
good
No.
places.
Right, yeah.
A year before this person was born, her mother and Frederick Beachman, a Caucasian scientist, were exposed to a massive dose of radiation when faulty electrical wiring caused an explosion which breached the facility's small nuclear pile.
Happens all the time.
Yeah, of course.
Beachman's wife gave birth to a son named Jerome at about the same time this person was born, and somehow the racial patterns displayed by the children were reversed.
What? What does that mean? The racial patterns of the children.
The girl
Wait,
was
is this
born
our
of-
origin story? I feel like this is really
I met
us.
my parents, and I'm not sure that the girl born of black parents had chalk white skin. I don't think that's
but I haven't met your parents, so.
And the boy born of white parents was a deep brown. So they were
Wow.
hated by their kids and didn't meet until they were grown-ups, and then somehow she becomes a cult priestess
Because of nuclear radiation, no less.
because of nuclear radiation.
Honey, you gave birth to a black child. How did that happen?
no, I am the child.
Nuclear radiation.
Nuclear radiation.
I didn't have an affair.
That is going to be, that is the
Wow.
perfect
Cover story,
excuse, folks.
radiation.
If your kid doesn't look like you, it was the radiation.
But guys, in the years that followed, I developed fangs and grew more vampiric in appearance. So it just takes more twists from
Necra.
there.
You're reading Necra, right?
And then,
Yeah.
yeah. And then the dude conceived the ambitious scheme of overthrowing 3 small West African governments and consolidating the nations under his rule.
Boy,
and
comic books are
then
dumb, y'all.
Is the
made
other guy
me
Claw?
his priestess. He took the name Mandrill.
Oh,
That's a bad-
no.
Bad outcome.
Mandrill, that's, yeah.
So, and then we formed Black Spectre, an organization of black women dedicated to the overthrow of the United States government. We're skipping my origin.
no,
My origin
no,
is
own it,
complicated,
embrace
y'all.
it, embrace it.
You are the head of Black Spectre.
Exactly, embrace it. Be who and what you are.
At the
Yeah,
very
with my
least-
leaping ability.
Yes.
At the very
right.
least, I've got a cool costume. I've got Banshee's costume right here.
I've also
Look at
got a
that.
super sweet
Boom.
costume.
Boom.
Who's your costume?
Banshee.
Yeah, Banshee.
Banshee right
Hector,
there.
the
With the wing, but does that mean can you fly? Because he can fly from the powers, not the wings. But you got a flying horse.
why do you wear those
So-
wings if you're riding a horse around?
Because it looks good, Amy.
That's his parachute.
What's your costume?
That's I
Dave, what's your
got
costume?
Count Nefaria
That's a
there.
great costume.
Count, that's a pretty sweet looking outfit. Like I would wear
coat.
that. No,
You got the collar.
I need you to know, people of the interwebs,
Yeah.
I would wear this costume. Yeah. And I know your stuff has been sad, but every aspect of mine, they're all dead. Yeah, every single one of
So
them.
here's what we're doing. We're retconning my origin.
Yes.
We're just taking the vampiric priestess part.
Okay.
No,
That's
you've
it.
got to be like mulatto radioactive. Like you
Radioactive
do. Like you
mulatto.
just do. Or is something wrong with that? Is that what you're trying to say?
You know, I'm just not sure I would cast me
Yeah.
for this part. Exactly.
What's your costume, Amy?
My costume, as my vampiric priestess leaping ability person, I have the stranger's costume. Which means I have wicked, like,
Nefaria.
pointy things here,
Yeah.
which I think is pretty perfect
Yep.
for my,
For a
my
vampiric
cult priestess.
Leaping cult
calling.
priestess person, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, do we have to come up with names?
Now we need
too?
names.
Now we need names?
Oh.
All right, so I'm dressed like this dude with a big N on my belt buckle.
Yep, okay.
You know? All right, I'm a technological mind reader. I'll just keep it simple, and I'll just say I'll be the nightmare.
Nice.
Because I can freak
Nightmare.
people's minds.
Yeah.
The nightmare, you can pull images out of their minds.
My
Exactly,
origin story
exactly,
was
yeah.
I'm from the 30th century, but I ride a winged steed. I'll call myself the future knight.
Future Knight. Are you
Not
like
Chrono
Rom
Knight,
the Space
Future
Knight?
Knight. Yeah,
Future
like
Knight.
Rom the Space
Like
Knight.
Rom the
Except
Space
I killed him.
dun,
Rom has an
dun.
entry in this, by the way.
Rom, they
I'll
will.
get 'em,
They
'cause
all do.
Yeah.
Had the rights to Rom. Here it is.
They all do.
So my
Right
leaping
here.
vampire priestess with the pointy things is
There it
going
is.
to be named. I'm
Oh,
choosing this. Just whatever I first land on here.
Oh, all right.
I'm just gonna go with Lectra. Lectra. From
Lectra.
Phase
Lectra.
World.
Lectra.
Very
it's
nice.
the namesake for my.
Very nice.
It's for a radioactive cross biracial vampiric priestess.
Yeah.
Long jumper.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
My
Legit.
leaping ability knows
Legit.
no bounds.
Legit.
Guys, I wanted to
Yeah.
show off a couple more encyclopedia things
Yes.
if I could, if that's okay.
Please, please. We actually have
Here-
a lot of time today.
Here
Yes.
is this is a real special one to me because sometimes these projects, they're obviously really ambitious, right?
Yeah.
The first issue of the official handbook of the Marvel Universe was only A through A.
Yeah.
So they're planning on doing a whole series, right?
Yeah.
Here's what happens when you don't get to enact that plan.
Yeah.
This is a Masters of the Universe encyclopedia.
Yes.
Issue number 1. There was no issue 2. And so there's just a big old M, and they expected to do Astor's the universe, and they never did it. And this is awesome. I geeked out about this so hard. This is issue 1, and it was a guide to like the TV show on Cartoon Network at the time, which I geeked out about. There's entries on Evil Seed and Evelyn and all the vehicles and stuff. So like I love this stuff, but because I had to wait years and years and years and years to get a He-Man encyclopedia, I don't even love He-Man. I just like He-Man.
Yeah.
And I just like that He-Man has a shit ton of characters.
Yeah.
So that's why encyclopedias are rad. Boom! Dark Horse just came out with that thing, and this thing is nuts. It's an encyclopedia. It's a character guide and
All
world
of the
compendium.
promise of your little guide
There it is.
fulfilled
But
in
it's
this beautiful
finally-
hardcover.
They also have
Minus
not just
a long, like, out to the hallway covers.
Astor's The
Yeah.
Universe.
not just
Exactly.
the one cartoon,
They were
but
like,
they've
we
got
covered Prince Adam. Eh.
they've got entries for like. So if you go to He-Man, it's got stuff from like, well, here's He-Man in the original cartoon, in the original comic strip, in the cartoon that came in 1990, in comics that came after that. Here's Dolph Lundgren. Like, here's what he was in the movie. Like, they cover every iteration.
I feel like we
of
just
Masters
shouldn't
of the
discuss
Universe.
that. I feel like we
Well,
should just.
It's crazy because I think
But
like
history's ugly sometimes.
Courtney Cox's character in that movie, I think, has an entry in this, right?
Courtney Cox is in the He-Man movie?
Right?
Oh, absolutely.
she is.
She is in Masters of the Universe.
like the lead
In all of her 80s glory. Yes, she
Yeah.
is.
Love Courtney
Her
Cox.
and
So this
Dolph
thing is-
Lundgren.
This thing is heavy.
It
Get
is
a
a
load of
very
that.
weighty book.
I love it.
It is a workout, yes.
I love it. What else did I
Also
want to
featuring
show off?
She-Ra, Princess of Power.
Yes.
It's small, but they made a point of
But
putting
she,
it on the
yeah,
cover, so I'll
exact-
take it.
you know, yeah, inclusion.
It's true.
Diversity.
They've got all the
Yes.
She-Ra characters in there. Here's a real fun thing. I brought this. This is a Marvel Holiday Special 2007, I think it was. The reason I brought this is because Santa Claus himself has an encyclopedic entry in the Marvel Universe. Santa's real.
Santa's real.
And they explain how he is here.
There it is, and how he
He's
gets around. There it
real
is.
Give me
much
the
like
shit.
Spider-Man.
Look,
Exactly.
he's real like Spider-Man.
Yes.
They
what? He's real.
clearly
He's real in here.
explain it.
Well, so is Spider-Man.
Right.
that
Yeah.
he has
Like,
he
really,
has
yeah.
like he's from another dimension basically.
He's an alternate
yeah.
Earth Santa.
But
person.
they like for real they break it down scientifically, and like all of these entries, he even has a power grid. Like you can tell how
So
How
we haven't gotten into that yet.
strong-
When they in the 2000s, when they
Yeah.
started over again, they
Yes.
added some features.
That's true.
Yes, they
they
did.
give like power rankings there that
So-
should be printed out on trading cards.
I can explain what they are if I can find the first volume, which of the hardcovers, which has Beast and where is it? Bishop and.
They really had
find
this on the
this.
cards. I remember
Bro.
the trading
I
cards
know.
that they made about that time, and these were all on here.
Got the Spidey encyclopedia.
It's yes. What do you? I'm sorry. What are you looking
It's
for?
not
I might
volume
have
2. It's volume 1 of that. I need volume,
Volume
1
one
of
of
that.
this?
Where did it go? It must have got buried under something.
I might have thrown
So
it around
many
when I was trying to give you. Is that it in your hand?
14.
Nope. I saw one and my mind blanked out. You know.
Oh, here it is. I got it.
Here it
There you
is.
go.
Okay.
We're prepared.
So here's what I got in the back. It actually explains what the power ratings are and what they mean. Any number from 1 through 7. And as I read these, you guys can just come up with what you think.
I think we have a graphic for the power rating, so pop
we have
those
it?
up
Have a power
while
ratings
Hector
graphic?
reads the description.
So
Yes.
for intelligence is the first category. A ranking of 1, or the intelligence is the ability to think and process information.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
A ranking of 1 is
Thanks.
slow/impaired. 2
Mm-hmm.
is normal. 3 is learned. 4 is gifted. Now here's where Peter Parker lives. 5 is genius. So
Right.
Peter's not a genius, but he's gifted.
That's weird.
Okay.
6 is super genius, which I think is where Tony Stark, Reed Richards, T'Challa, these characters live.
Right?
7 is omniscient. So like a Galactus or like Eternity or like.
So they're saying Tony Stark is one step below Galactus.
It goes like, yeah, basically, yeah, yes.
I mean, Tony Stark would think Tony Stark is,
Yes,
but
he
I'm
is.
just saying.
Tony Stark wrote the book.
That's true.
Strength
It's
is.
true. There's like a martini stain on the front of it. Yeah.
The maximum ability to, and actually they've got T'Challa at genius, not super genius, but genius.
Yeah. Seems
I think
legit.
the only super genius might be like Reed Richards, because he's like, you know.
Right. He's Reed Richards.
Strength is the ability, maximum ability to, from a standing position, lift, military press, weight over one's head under optimal conditions. 1 is weak, cannot lift own body weight. 2 is normal, able to lift over own body weight up to twice own body weight.
Hang on, I just need to say something. Being able to military press your own body weight is actually really difficult.
It is.
'Cause that's a very difficult
We're talking
thing.
about superheroes
But they're
here,
talking about
Dave. We're talking
superheroes.
about
Okay,
superheroes here.
it's superhero week.
Because wait till you get
Not
to.
Do they mean
human
like
week.
unable
Right.
to lift your own weight as in cannot stand?
No, they
No,
mean
no, no.
military
Okay,
press,
just
which
checking.
is that right there, yeah.
Yeah, and it's really tough for you because you are a large gentleman.
I'm freaky
You're a tall guy.
ginormous. Yes,
Yeah.
that is the
Extremely tall.
technical definition of what I am is freaky ginormous.
Now, volume 3 is peak human.
Guys, there's a vault entry for the Netherlands in this. Why is there's an entry?
because
for
that's where
the
Hydra
Netherlands?
is.
You want to know something even more fun?
Yes.
Is I have an official Marvel Atlas, which has the locations. You want to learn about Wakanda? You want to
Yeah.
learn about Latveria? It's all right there.
There it is.
Issues 1 of 2.
Keep reading the power thing.
Has Wakanda ever gone to war with Latveria?
Oh, you know it probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. You could
Do
probably
more?
read about
We're
that.
just gonna say they have.
Do more?
What's that?
Do more?
I mean, maybe.
Doom War? Maybe.
Maybe. Well, I mean, Doom went to war with everybody.
Yeah.
Let's
So
just
by
read Dr. Doom's
extension,
It was
entry.
like a specific, the Mighty
Right.
Avengers were tying into it around that time, just a
Right.
couple years ago. I feel like it went badly.
For strength, the peak human is able to lift over twice own body weight up to 800 pounds. That's a little scale for 3. And that's
Okay.
where Black
That's-
Panther. I'm keep bouncing back and forth between Black Panther's power grid and he's at a 3.
but Captain America's supposed to be like
Is it
peak
at a
human. Yeah,
3?
same thing.
Superhuman is 4, able to lift over 800 pounds up to 25 tons. This range
Again,
includes
that's quite a-
enhanced
that's
human.
quite a spectrum from
Sure it is.
800
They have to
pounds
do
to
it because
25 tons.
superhuman is the next one, and that's able to lift over 25 tons up to 75 tons.
I know it's 70.
And now we're at 6. Superhuman is able to lift over 75 tons up to 100 tons, and incalculable
right.
is able to lift in excess of 100 tons.
100 tons. But 100 was always the cutoff.
Incalculable.
Incalculable.
Speed, the ability to move over land by running or flight. 1,
Yeah.
below normal. 2,
Right.
normal. 3, subsonic superhuman, peak velocity below Mach 1, approximately 760 miles per hour.
Right?
Black
So
Panther's at a
funny,
2.
funny story. You get exceptions there, where, for instance, Hela in my
Hela.
entry has herself a little power grid.
Thor Ragnarok. Read up, kids.
Yeah, yeah. And who knows whether this will come up? But Hela's got intelligence rating. It looks like 3. Strength rating 7. Speed rating is interesting. It's a 3, but it's also a 7.
3 is subsonic human, but 7 is also warp speed, transcending light speed, or a teleporter, instantaneous travel.
Asterisk. Hela is a teleporter.
Hela's a
Yep.
she's a heliporter?
Heliporter.
She's a
Yeah,
heliporter.
it says right
It's
here.
on her power grid.
Teleporters whose normal speed is less than 7 receive a second bar in this category. Yeah.
What if you were really slow I mean, I know like with
Sure.
Nightcrawler there was a time lapse, but imagine if you just vanished and there was like a 12-second beat and then you just like popped
Yeah.
over there.
I feel like that's still instantaneous. It's not instantaneous. I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
The Vanisher, is he one? I think he just pops in and out of stuff. Or Blink. We could look up
Sure.
these characters and figure
Yep.
that stuff out.
Yeah.
Durability is the ability to resist or recover from bodily injury. Weak, normal, enhanced, regenerative, bulletproof, superhuman, virtually indestructible.
Virtually.
T'Challa is at a 3, which is enhanced. Energy projection, the ability to discharge energy. Number 1 is none. Number 2, ability to discharge energy on contact. 3, short range,
shocker.
short duration, single energy type. 4, medium range, medium duration, single energy type. 5, long
Like
range, long
bullets.
duration, single energy type. 6, able to discharge multiple forms of enemy. 7, virtually unlimited command of all forms of energy. T'Challa is at a 3.
I don't know how that's a thing, but okay. I mean,
Short range, short duration, like
kinetic
suit.
energy from like just
Maybe,
punching
from
somebody.
vibranium and
It's like I wonder like what the Punisher's entry is. If he's like a 3 because he
Ooh.
can project bullets.
And here's a good one, especially if you're trying to match up characters. If you wouldn't mind looking up Captain America right
Inhale?
here, specifically Steve Rogers, not James Buchanan Barnes. I'm talking about Steve.
Steve.
Fighting ability is proficiency in hand-to-hand combat. Number 1, poor. Number 2, normal. Number 3, some training. Number 4, experienced fighter. Number 5, master of a single form of combat,
Yes.
which is where T'Challa Black Panther is.
Yes.
Number 6, master of several forms of combat. And number 7, master of all forms of combat. All.
Both.
What is Captain
both
America?
Cap and Bucky are both at a 6.
They're both at a 6.
They're
Dang.
both. They're both at a 6.
T'Challa's at a 5.
Man,
That's crazy.
that's why these
That is
books
right.
just lead to arguments.
More arguments.
Cause that's some nuts.
Yeah, like these don't solve problems. Because then you're like, in issue 353, where the Black Panther defeated Captain America.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
Because let's be real, the Black Panther has defeated Captain America many
Right.
times, and he will continue to do so.
Because we all know that only Batman is unbeatable.
And even then,
That-
Captain America beat him.
Whether or not he's been beaten repeatedly has no impact on his
Yeah,
unbeatability.
it's true.
Okay.
Like they're unrelated.
When you're Batman and the Hulk throws
You know-
a car at you and you jump at the perfect angle to smash through the windows of
Right.
the passenger of the vehicle, you're just like, all right, you're unbeatable.
his
It's not
his
fair.
power is being Batman.
Is being Batman.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
He uses being Batman.
Yeah.
Here's another thing I got. I have G.I.
All
Joe
sevens. All sevens.
encyclopedias. These are G.I. Joe, the Data Desk Handbook, which, again, I don't even love G.I. Joe. I just like it. But the fact that they have a database of a bunch of different characters, and there's another one right there, G.I. Joe versus Cobra, the Essential Guide. I buy these things. Why?
Cobra.
Why did I buy this?
Hey, there's a color version of my costume, by the
Oh,
way.
there it is.
Going through a different book. There I am, and that's what you can imagine. Me clouding people's minds, rocking.
The nightmare.
Which, again, I would wear this. I would. So cosplayers of the world, if you need my measurements to make this, I will rock that. Yes, there you go.
Happily. Happily.
Happily.
One of my favorite comic books series, if not my favorite of all time, is Robert Kirkman's Invincible. Robert Kirkman is the writer-creator of The Walking Dead. And about halfway through their run, guess what they did? Official Handbook of the Invincible Universe.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's so easy.
It's a lot to keep track
And
of.
this is obviously an homage to the classic, because it's thank you. It's a wraparound cover.
There it is.
It's an homage
But
to the
you are
classic.
quick on the draw, Chief. That is most impressive.
He's so good.
Official Handbook of the Marvel Universe is what it's a throwback to, and even the entries themselves, they have the similar sort of information that the Marvel handbooks do, and they're kind of broken down in the same way. And yeah, it's an image with a bunch of data and a bunch of stats like height, weight, eye color, hair color.
Y'all,
origin.
Mac417 says, Hector, my lead writer on the handbooks used to edit Devil's Due's G.I. Joe comics.
Oh, very nice.
There you go.
Very nice. There it is right there.
The
Very
circle
nice.
is
Yeah,
complete.
That was the Devil's Due stuff. Yeah, that's awesome. It's got like it would be a dream job of mine if somebody was like, here's a thing, here's a fandom, do like a handbook style encyclopedia or a who's who, like do that. That'd be my dream job.
It's like the people whose job is to maintain the continuity on Doctor Who. Like they have a staff that's all they have to do is like keep
That's
track
kind of
of
awesome.
everything.
Our buddy Margaret, who is a wonderful animation and comic writer, I believe for a long time, possibly still to some extent, but previously was like keeper of Transformers continuity.
Yeah.
Yes.
All the
That's
Transformers
nuts.
continuities.
That's nuts. Yeah.
You know,
Writer for Windblade. Yeah.
But there is an unfortunate byproduct of these encyclopedias too.
What is that?
That they can give tremendous heartburn because I had the issue where Spider-Man became Captain Universe and he fought the Tri-Sentinel, and that was when his powers manifested, and he destroyed the Tri-Sentinel, and I lost it and I cannot find it inside. But it's so I know I know I had it, you know, and you go through the boxes so many times. Right,
Hey,
because
man,
you're like,
you
it's in
You're
here
like, you
somewhere.
know, it was here. It was
so I'm like,
here.
it was here. Now it's not. There's a piece missing. There's a piece missing.
Piece
Did
of
you
your
just
heart.
find Captain Universe in here?
I did just find Captain
Amazing.
Universe and Captain Universe, Spider-Man in particular, and it was just like, but it wasn't a happy. It's my Rosebud moment. There it was.
I think I
There
pretty
was.
much covered everything that I brought. I mean, if you want to do a sort of a breakdown between the two different kinds of
Somebody wanted us to actually look up Batman and see if they, because I don't think the Who's Who assigned new numbers at this point.
I feel like
let's see
Batman would
what
just
it has
like
to
be one
say.
of these books. It's
do you want to look up old Batman or do you want to look up like a current like the DC Encyclopedia entry on Batman? What would you like?
I'll give me the encyclopedia while you find the Who's Who.
Or it should be just like literally like a pamphlet where you're like name Batman, occupation Batman, powers Batman.
Would be dictator of no.
Would be
Batman.
known enemies Batman.
Yeah, fair. That's Tony Stark though again.
Yeah, that is
Known
also
enemies,
true.
Tony Stark.
Well, you know, but Stan Lee has gone on record saying he made Tony Stark like a raging asshole on purpose.
Yep.
He's like, I'm going to create a character that everyone should hate, and I'm going to make you love him.
Because
you know?
he was so confident, and he wasn't
Yeah,
wrong.
he was not
in
wrong.
the Marvel method.
Yeah.
Now, you know, that the idea of creating a charismatic, likable character that was a flawed human. So he was like,
Yep.
hey, dude, it's the 60s.
Yep.
Who do people hate more than war profiteers?
Exactly.
But we're gonna
Alcoholic
make you
war
like
profiteers.
him. We're going to
Yeah.
make you like
Yeah.
him.
And fast forward, and Robert Downey Jr. Was Tony Stark in life, and then
Yeah.
became
That's
Tony
it.
Stark on screen.
Okay, I found Batman and Batman 2 over here.
Batman,
So
Batman 2.
Here's post-crisis.
We have post-crisis
or actually
Batman.
it's pre-crisis. There was two different. There was a Batman that was active since World War II, and
Yes.
they considered him active since World War II,
Yup.
and he aged in real time. So in the 50s, 60s, 70s, he's aging.
Yes.
And then current comics at the time in the 80s, they're like, oh, and also plus we have a 30-year-old Batman who's like new
Who's
to the game.
perpetually 30.
Who's perpetually
Yeah.
30 until Frank Miller came along and was like, no, that depresses me. Here's The Dark Knight Returns where he's 60.
Yes, exactly.
So, this is amazing. This is a breakdown of Batman's utility belt.
Oh, boy. Oh, yeah.
He
What's in that utility belt?
He stores plot devices in his utility
Yeah,
belt.
that's basically the answer, yeah.
Let's
I love
see.
the way it's all folded up and
We've got infrared flashlight.
Cool.
They're
Helpful.
all the right shape here.
this is
Smoke
80s.
capsules.
This is 80s technology. So as soon as you name something that's like outdated, I'll point it
I know, you're like, I've got
Fingerprint
that right
dusting
here.
kit.
Yeah.
Ooh, still helpful.
Miniature camera.
Ooh, don't need it.
Lockpick tools.
Yep.
Still good.
Yep. Still useful.
Tear gas pellets.
Yeah.
Still good, man.
For
he's a
his
ninja.
brutality needs.
Well, he is.
Microprocessor power source.
Okay, right there.
Right, yeah. Okay,
What
he's
the
got
hell
a
does that even mean?
He's got a battery pack for his tiny computer.
That was the current.
Yeah.
That was at the time.
Yeah.
The cutting edge techno babble.
Yeah.
Jack, you're so good.
Was
Yes.
what was it?
Oh, wow,
Microprocessor.
Microprocessor power source.
Wow,
Yes,
cool.
Definitely.
Little kids reading that. He's got a microprocessor.
You will
Exactly.
not believe this next one.
I feel that way now. Though.
Shark
If you told me
repellent.
he like had that on
yeah,
him, I'd be like,
that's impressive.
Can you believe that the Batman is also rocking the micro cassette recorder?
Micro cassette.
Micro
Look at it, it's right there.
cassette
A micro
recorder.
cassette recorder.
in like one of
Don't
those
need it,
cameras
Batman.
that you had to like click to take the pictures of the documents. Yeah.
And
uh-huh.
then the Batline reel.
Batline reel.
Batline
Bro,
reel.
That's a string. How
That-
much?
d-
How much
it,
reel do
it
you-
is not a string. It is a Batline reel.
That Batline.
Yeah.
There's this much space. How are you gonna have like a
Followed by the laser torch.
cool?
D-
Still
yep,
helpful.
definitely relevant.
And then the cutest little plastic explosive grenades.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I love about that old school
There's
bat,
some
this is
ninja.
Batman
There's-
belt?
There's no smoke bombs though. I feel like they're
No
lacking
smoke
in the
bombs.
smoke
And a
bombs.
rebreathing apparatus.
You said was there grenade smoke bombs or?
Tear gas pellets and plastic explosive grenades.
Yeah, well, I guess that doubles
Oh,
as
smoke capsules, yes,
Smoke
smoke
capsules. All right, okay. This
Ninja.
seems like a substantial oversight.
What I love about that old school belt is that everything that he had, every tool was like a little yellow like tube.
Yeah.
It was like this big that he was like doing stuff with, or he could put it in his mouth to like as he's doing detective work, like
Yeah.
like we
Yep.
see like modern day flashlights, like they're all like that small. I love that. That's cool.
Yep.
Two-way radio concealed in belt buckle.
Boy, oh boy.
This is one of those things though that when like, you know, the plot armor is actually detrimental because there's absolutely no reason why someone who has made Bruce Wayne's life choices and has Bruce Wayne's resources wouldn't be Iron Man. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, he
That's a
would have
good
gone.
point.
He would have gone the Batman Beyond.
But that's
armored
why. But here's the thing. But that's
sooner.
why his backstory, and I think they lean into it, especially in the past 20, 30 years, way harder. Is no, ninja. Not armor,
Yeah.
Playboy billionaire, ninja. He's
Well,
ninja.
no,
So
no.
his comfort zone is, look, man, I was trained by Henry Ducard or Ra's al Ghul or whatever you want to say, or ninjas. So I am used to a cloth, a cape, a thing to hide in the shadows. Even though I have billions of
I
dollars,
hear all of that.
I will be
but
ninja.
The moment that he leans that heavily on technology,
Sure.
that argument, you know,
or the
collapses.
moment he
You
sees
know what I mean?
Lex Luthor, fellow billionaire rival, with a Lex suit,
Yeah.
or even the moment he
Right.
crosses over into the Marvel universe, which has happened,
Yes.
and he sees Tony Stark Iron Man, he should
He's like,
just be like,
"What?"
shit, I need a few of those, but I
Yeah.
won't use them all the time.
Yeah.
Like, just show up
Yeah.
in that suit.
The first time someone threw a car at him,
Yeah.
he might have been
He's
like,
like,
"Oh,
Yeah.
hold on a second.
Yeah.
I'm out of my element. I'm
I
out
should
of my league."
I should be because he brings the electrified
Yeah.
brass knuckles, you know.
All right,
Just
found
saying.
the stats, powers and weapons. An incomparable athlete, far beyond Olympic level. Like, get out of here with your
Yeah.
Olympic level.
Yeah. it's
The
garbage.
Batman is also a master of all known forms of physical combat.
How did he find the time?
Because
That's him
he's
at like
Batman.
a 6, right? 7 on the Marvel scale.
He'd be a 7.
Yes.
An
An 8. He'd be an 8 on their
unparalleled,
scale of 7.
unparalleled strategist and tactician.
Okay.
An expert in the art of disguise.
Of course.
Yes, I like
And
that.
has
I'm not
been
convinced you're
called-
not him right now.
Has been called, can't rule it out. Has been called by some the world's greatest
greatest
escape artist.
Ooh, escape
Oh, not
artist.
even detective.
Whoa.
Escape artist.
Mr. Miracle,
Oh,
shut
no,
up.
I know
Miracle has
Mr.
some
Miracle's like, wait,
words.
well, Mr. Miracle's not from this world. I think that's how
from
they can.
There
we go.
That's how they
Yeah,
can
yeah,
sell
yeah.
it. Yeah,
Good call.
he's a different world's greatest escape artist.
His reasoning and deductive abilities are second to none.
Yep.
The weapons in his arsenal against crime include the items in the utility belt he wears around his waist, the sleek Batmobile, the Bat plane, and the one-man whirly bat.
You know, Jeff Johns, just like a couple of weeks ago, I read an article with him where he said that Lex Luthor was the smartest man in the DC Comics universe. And I was like, oh.
No, I'll give it to him. Listen, man, in the same way that who's the fastest man in the DC universe?
Flash.
Why not Superman? Superman
Because
also
Flash.
has superhuman
Well,
speed.
you
Because
completely
Flash.
invalidate Flash if
Thank
Superman
you.
is the fastest man alive.
Batman is the smartest man in the DC universe, you completely invalidate Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor has to have that. He doesn't have anything else.
No, Lex
Mr.
Luthor.
Terrific is like, whatever, guys.
Lex Luthor is Bruce Wayne without a conscience.
I'll give you that. But
He's capitalist,
But
Bruce.
but Bruce Wayne is Lex Luthor also with like a rockin' bod. So that's why you got to give Luthor the brains. You have to give him that slight advantage.
But then he has to look like Gene Hackman if you do that.
That's
You have
fine.
to-
I love a pudgy Lex Luthor.
Right, exactly. Like a little,
Again,
like a
Superman
little,
the animated series, he was
little spare
pudgy.
tire.
It wasn't
Yeah.
until Justice League Unlimited that
Right.
he was working out
the power suit and
constantly.
everything.
Thank you.
Well, because he was like
insecure.
that indestructible
Superman,
dude.
I know.
His yoke.
The least I
need
could
to
do
be
is have
ready.
8-pack abs.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
love a
He's
chubby
like he's got a
Luthor.
Kryptonian
I just
six-pack. I need
keep
8-pack.
reading this.
I know, right?
No, we're staying here the rest
So
of the night.
Dude,
Like even when the feed cuts out,
Yeah.
we'll be right here.
That's
Nerding out.
This is my life. I can spend. I'm so comfortable being in my room alone. It's like, are you bored? No. And when I was a kid, I would be so quiet that my mom would have to like yell for me, like, Hector, are you okay? And I'd be like, I'm fine, because I was like
Yep.
reading this or like drawing or something. So you can easily spend an afternoon poring over this stuff. It's so much fun. It's
Yes.
great.
Where do you recommend people start?
Yes.
We've had some questions about that, where
Yes.
they're like, what out of all this,
Honestly, is find
You're like start at A.
Find your kink. Find the thing that you're into. If it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe because you like the Marvel movies, go on Amazon. Go to InStockTrades.com. Go to your local comic book store and have them order that guidebook for you.
Local comic shop if
And
you can.
because if you love a
Yeah.
thing, it's going to be so much easier for you to read more about that version of
Yes.
Black Widow.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? If you watch the movies and you're like, well, what's her backstory?
Yes.
Go get that thing. They don't give you
Natasha
everything.
Romanoff, yes.
But they lay it all out from the movies. And what's cool about that book in particular is like they also draw from some in-continuity comics that you
They'll
haven't
sort of
read yet.
direct
Yes.
So
you.
you're like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yes.
so you learn, Black Widow was actually at Culver University in the
branches.
2008 The Incredible Hulk movie with Edward Norton, and she saw him Hulk out, which is why she's even more freaked out when Phil Coulson assigns her to go get the big guy
Yep.
in the Avengers, and she shows up to talk to Mark Ruffalo Hulk. Like, all these little things. So if you're into something, you'll love it more. If you're into He-Man or G.I. Joe or Marvel or DC or both,
Yes.
find a sleek, current little encyclopedic book that you like. Go and look for like single issue, because like I said, they've got themes. You can do 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. You can do like they had like in the mid to late 2000s, they would have books that were like, here's Captain America and just a bunch of characters related to Captain America and their update.
Yep.
Here's the Avengers and a bunch of those. I mean, the Defenders book that we saw earlier, because with the contributing writer, he's hanging out in the chat.
Yeah,
So you can go
Pepe.
that way.
And if I could throw a slight curveball.
Please.
The RPGs. If you're a gamer, if you're a
Yeah.
tabletop gamer, Marvel
Yes.
and DC, the 80s RPGs, where this was the format of the books. You know, that's also
Excellent, Dave.
an
Excellent.
interesting
Because
an
you're a
interesting
gamer
segue.
and you read through, and it's not just, again, if you play Dungeons and Dragons, you got to read about all the monsters.
Yep.
Right? You got to read about all the monsters and their stats. But
Yep.
you'll do the same thing with like a superhero role-playing game book, except the characters that you'll like fight because they're stupid are the Constrictor and the Controller and
Yep.
Taste Pot Pete and the Wrecker and the Wrecking Crew and all these
Yep.
characters that are like actual real comic book. Like you're
Yep.
like, oh, you
The
can
Vulture.
The Vulture is in there, and you go, oh yeah, I remember him
Yep.
from a movie
Yep.
with Michael Keaton.
And
So
then
they're
you
in
fight
there.
the Vulture, and he's really hard, and you're like, wait, this game is stupid. Like,
That book right there, the Marvel Encyclopedia hardcover, the updated and expanded edition. And the thing that Amy has in front of her right now, which is the DC universe, like a definitive guide to the characters of the DC universe.
Which is pretty dang up to date. It's up to like last
The
summer.
DC Comics
Yep.
Encyclopedia, yeah, all new edition.
Yep.
Those are great because those are one and dones.
Yep.
And they run you from like $40 to $50.
They're
And you
not
could probably
usually,
find them
like,
discounted.
You want to check regular bookstores for these most. They sort of have better
Yeah.
sources on this stuff.
Barnes
they
and
kind of
Noble.
come
Yes.
through comic book stores and they get tough to get a hold of.
And again, they're not the most in-depth, but I guarantee you don't know 9/10 of the shit in there.
Yeah.
You read it and you're like, wait, this is what Booster Gold is all about? This is
Yep.
what Hank Pym's like general backstory is? Yeah.
Yep.
And then you go from there and you can do the deep dives into the old Marvel encyclopedias or
And this
you know.
one, of course, like this Batman
It's really
entry
nice.
has a list of 4 classic stories you might want to check out.
There
Yeah.
you go. Those are
Well,
beautifully
and
laid
And then
out.
there's also a lot of things like you flip through. Like as I'm looking at things, I'm like, I remember when they debuted X-Men.
X-Men.
And it's like,
Yeah.
but
Nate
you go
Gray.
down such a rabbit hole because you remember Nate Gray. You remember
Dude.
the stories about Nate Gray. You remember where you were in life when you read about Nate Gray.
Yeah.
And it just sets off this whole,
Yeah.
kinetic chain of joy.
Oh man, is there
Yes.
any
Kinetic chain of joy.
Kinetic chain of
I
joy.
love it.
Hashtag
Yeah.
kinetic chain of joy.
I don't know
Yes.
how much time we have, Amy, but are there any entries that the internet wants us to look up of like
Okay.
obscure characters or
Interwebs.
We'll
like
100%
other than
do that. We got to do
Batman?
our 5-minute topic right
5
now.
minutes.
Okay.
Oh, we're doing the 5-minute topic
We are.
now. I am
so the way
prepared.
the 5-minute topic works.
Yes.
Welcome to the Wednesday Club. We like to have one topic suggested by y'all that we will do a 5-minute challenge on. And in general, it's going to be, I'm going to do a minute, you're going to do a minute, you're going to do a minute, and
Great.
then 2 minutes of free-for-all.
Great.
But tonight, the winning topic is a little bit unusual. This will take some expansion.
My body is
Are
ready.
you ready?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, we got a timer. You're busting out. He's busting out the timer.
It's
This
gonna
is
be on the
real.
screen as
We're
well.
gonna have a
Great.
screen timer. Yes, we are prepared.
So, Jaffe and Rolls says, topic, if you were featured in a comic handbook / guide, what would your entry say?
Oh my gosh. It would start with my origin being from San Diego.
Okay.
It would start that some of the stuff we went over earlier, that I have been attending San Diego Comic-Con since I was 10 years old.
Okay.
That stuff is kind of important and vital. It would chart some of my careers and progress and stuff, but then my powers and abilities would be stuff like an unparalleled speaking prowess or whatever. It would be like all charisma bullshit.
I don't know that you could
That's it.
stumble
I
over
can't-
unparalleled speaking prowess.
It would be so exaggerated,
Prowess.
unparalleled.
I'm like known weakness being
he's-
put on the spot.
He's a real good talker.
Real good at talking.
Real good at talking.
Known aliases?
Oh my gosh. My mom used to call me Quick Pen because I would draw fast.
Seriously?
I had a coworker that used to call me Hectorious every time he saw me.
I will
good.
do that now.
Hector?
Like, I mean, I want you
It
to know
doesn't
you're
stick.
Hectorious from
It
now
doesn't
on.
stick.
It's good.
Hector,
Hashtag.
Heckbird.
Group affiliation, all of my various places of work. You'd have a cool group affiliation. Valkyries would be.
Oh, yes.
That is a legit group, like
Yes.
a superhero group to be a part of. But I'm already in a minute, so it's that kind of crap.
He's at a minute.
All right, so Amy Dallen, group affiliation Valkyries, group affiliation Geek and Sundry, group affiliation. Those are long lists. Mine would. I'm not a person of mystery. I cannot probably lift my own body weight. I am not a master of any form of martial arts. I feel like I would do all right in the intelligence one. Speed, not so good. Not so good on speed.
It'd be normal. It'd be normal.
Normal, normal human.
One is like
Right.
Professor Xavier, like he is in a wheelchair, so he cannot
Right.
like slower than what is considered normal. But that's
Right.
what that's
Sure.
what they'll do, like a 1.
And
Okay.
this, how fast can you run when you're really scared?
That's true.
It's like Scooby-Doo.
Limits of scared running have not yet been tested.
Okay.
Proficient in fields of nerddom such as et cetera, technology rating decently high.
Yeah.
But
First
no
appearance-
known ability to develop new technology.
Yeah. First appearance would just be your birthday. So
Yeah.
like,
True, first appearance.
1987.
Yes.
All right, that's my
Yes.
You're
first
up.
appearance.
I'm up. I'm hitting my minute. I would say my entry would be physical stats 6'9", 270.
Damn.
Yeah, master of Shaolin Kung Fu, master of Tai Chi.
Yeah, you actually rate on the score.
yeah.
No, I actually have like
You're a
like
superhero.
rankings. Like I wouldn't have called myself master like you just asked me, but
Right,
I mean
but-
like Marvel lexicon
Yeah, you're
type
good.
thing. Yeah, exactly.
awesome.
Like I would not immediately get beat up by Captain America. I would
Hand-
ultimately get beat up
Yes.
by Captain
Yes.
America.
I like
awesome.
that you're not. You're once again just team bad guy.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'm always going to advocate for the bad guys because
Yeah.
good guys cheat. Good guys always have some prophecy
Yeah,
or
man.
magic weapon or go train on some mountain.
Or Indiana Jones just
Handbook
shoots
entry.
the guy.
just shoot
He
them or
just
just
shoots
like
Dubious moral
5 of
relativism
them.
marks B.
You know,
Dave Walters.
I have a certain moral leeway. That should be in my entry there.
Look,
yeah.
man,
Also.
you read Magneto's entry, you're not going to disagree with him. He's,
At all.
He's right.
Yeah,
He's kind of right.
He's completely right. And my superpower is freaky ginormitude, and I think I would also rate fairly high on the intelligence, and my minute
Very
is
nice.
up. Yes.
Very nice. Some of the weapons and paraphernalia I would have would be like, Hector has a
Thunder and lightning.
thunder and lightning. Those are yours?
lightning.
Thunder and lightning. Mine would
got
be
'em
like
too.
snap, crackle, pop. No, my weapons would be like he's got access to very useful encyclopedias,
That's true.
Encyclopedic knowledge.
encyclopedic knowledge.
Encyclopedic
That's
knowledge,
what I would
yes.
have. Yeah. Oh man. That's great.
Moderate language skills, I guess, would go on mine.
Yes.
I don't know if the handbook like calls you out for not keeping up with your languages. Like, used to have
I've lost
language
all
skills.
German. I was once fluent in German. I am no longer. Yes. Technological knowledge. I think you got a laptop. That counts.
Yeah.
That counts. Technological proficiency, performance.
Yep, there we go.
Performance, yes.
Performance skills,
You have
moderate disguisability.
vision enhancing devices.
Let's call that a bonus.
There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Uses specially designed hardware.
If they weren't useful, Superman wouldn't wear them.
That's well.
Just go with me.
You may have picked the only example that does not help our case.
Or does it? Or does it? Exactly. Yeah,
Hair
because
color
you
various.
can be very serious.
That's definitely in mine.
You can be very serious when you take your glasses
47
off.
seconds. You know what's
47
great?
seconds.
Is on the last page of the last volume of the 2008 edition. Mark Grunwald got an entry, and he has a little superhero costume.
Shout out.
He's just a regular guy right here. This is there we go. This is the guy, the lead writer that we talked about earlier.
Yep.
He gets an entry and he gets like power charts and everything and the little face, and it says abilities, accessories. Mark was an award-winning writer, editor, a skilled artist, and a master chronologist. He could also play rhythm guitar, ride a bicycle backwards, recite the alphabet backwards at a terrific speed, and type for 5 hours without taking a break.
Guys.
Height, 5'9", 150
Yes,
pounds,
we have
brown eyes, brown
10
hair.
seconds. Finish us off.
Mac417 specifies we do note skills that have lapsed from disuse. We have an official ruling
There it is.
from a handbook writer.
Done.
And that wraps
Yep.
up
Done.
our 5 minutes.
Perfect. Prince.
Encyclopedias and handbooks was the topic of tonight's Wednesday Club. I'm Amy Dallen, this is Hector Navarro, and this is B. Dave Walters, and thank you so much for watching. But the show's not actually over. That was just our 5 minutes.
Yes, the
Great.
show's not over. That was for the people of the interwebs that just got a taste.
When can you watch it?
You can watch it Wednesdays at 7 o'clock Pacific on twitch.tv/Geek and Sundry.
Or on VOD.
Or on Project Alpha.
Yes.
I'm real good at my job.
Also,
Is
you
there-
say words. You too say words
I
good.
too, as well, say the good words.
Yes, the best words.
Any entries that the internet wants us to look up, guys? Any questions they have?
Yes.
Who's stronger than who? Who's faster than who?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
And feel free to answer that, people of the interwebs. I'll pose it to both of you. If you could be a character represented in these books, who would that
now,
character be?
We got to specify.
If we could.
When you say be a character, do you
Yes.
mean like live their exact life?
All of it, not just their powers. Be
Like
them.
you are that character?
Yes, transported.
I got to go Peter Parker.
Peter,
I got to go Peter Parker Spider-Man. Yeah, dude, because I love New York. He's had some great loves, great losses, but great loves.
Yes.
His powers are not so crazy powerful that like my life would be so drastically different than what I'm used to right now. Imagine
You're
you
not worried
wake
you're
up.
going to sneeze and destroy the universe.
Correct, and not just that, but imagine you wake up tomorrow and you are Clark Kent. Like he's used to that because he's been
Right.
alive for 35 years, so
Yeah.
he's used to that body and not destroying everything.
The
and-
world's cardboard. yeah.
World's cardboard. So
Yep.
so I would be like, I would just be
It
like
actually is for you, though.
Yes,
huh?
it really
Yeah.
is. Like I sat down
Yeah.
at this
You're
table,
like
and
a doorway.
what was the
Oh.
first thing I said? I'm like,
Like,
the table shakes a lot
it
when
shakes
I
a lot.
touch it, not when
Yeah.
you guys touch it. Me, I'm like,
Spider-Man. He's gone on great adventures. He's
Yep.
suffered a lot of pain and loss, but he has a great outlook on life, and
Yep.
he's like a well off. And my favorite version of Spider-Man is he ends up marrying the love of his life, a supermodel, has a kid.
That's true.
You
That is
know,
living the dream.
Like I gotta go with I'll lose my uncle, but look how many lives I saved. Like
True.
and he does like the coolest shit.
We all lose something, and you. Do you want me to
I'm just going to give a pure cheese answer. There's no good argument for this. I'd be Kitty Pryde because
Yeah.
I would be Kitty Pryde.
You'd
Yeah.
be
There's
Kitty
a great
Pryde. Agent of
argument
S.H.I.E.L.D.
for
Kitty
that.
Pryde?
That probably
Again-
be part of it. Like,
again,
there's a
Amy,
face.
similar
A
to
bad
the
idea dating wisdom, Kitty Pryde.
Similar to the
Right.
Peter Parker idea, you didn't pick Wonder Woman because you're like,
Yeah.
I don't want like that's so far removed.
Right.
I would
But-
want to meet Wonder Woman, which is a bad
Yes.
choice for Kitty Pryde then.
Right.
Hold
Not
on.
Wait,
necessarily.
you wouldn't even want to meet Wonder
No,
Woman?
no,
Is
I
that
would
what
want
she's
to
saying?
meet her,
Would
which
want to
means
meet.
It's unfortunate that I picked Kitty Pryde.
Well, but you could
if
like
you
creep
pick-
through her walls. What's she gonna do?
Yeah.
Nothing. Because you're all
She'd
intangible.
find a way.
Well, but you're there.
She would shame me into
this-
turning solid.
I mean, well, that might work. Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
And then she'd
Kitty-
put the lasso on me and I'd be like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Your privacy is important.
She is an incredibly powerful character, though,
Yeah.
when used appropriately.
Who would you
You?
pick, Dave?
Judge as you will, Kal-El Krypton. Yeah, I mean,
make it
because
great
you're a
Kal-El.
supervillain, so you would infiltrate the universe in the body of the most powerful hero.
world optimization.
World
That's the
optimization.
thing, Justice Lord Superman. It's hard to argue with his point of view. That he's like, everybody would be better off if we were in charge.
It's very easy to argue with this point of view.
Yeah,
It's very-
I mean, there might have been extensive writing in animation about the flaws in his reasoning.
That's true.
I'm just
We've
saying.
learned so much about you.
Yeah.
You know who I am, people of the
You know
interwebs.
what, I gotta-
Speaking
Yes,
of knowing
right.
who you are, where can people find you and follow you and watch your wonderful show?
At B. Dave Walters. I'm at B. Dave Walters everywhere. At B. Dave Walters. And our show is Mondays, 8:30 on Twitch and on Project Alpha. You can watch both, and you can see our first 2 episodes. They're available on demand now. Yes.
Hector, where can people find you?
We're going to be doing a thing next with whatever it is that we're doing.
Yeah.
You got another thing.
Normally we play Star Trek, but we have no Eric today, so we're doing a wacky one-shot for a game called Lasers and Feelings based on the wonderful song by the Double Clicks. So it's just all of the things that I enjoy.
You can follow a bunch of fun stuff. If you guys like superheroes, I play a game called Hero Clicks on Hyper RPG. We do a show every Monday night called Indomitable, which is kind of stats similar, and we kind of geek out about that stuff. And you can check out the way
little
that
cards for Hero Clicks should constitute their own encyclopedia thing.
Yeah.
All this vibrations, it's all like the people following me. I haven't just been checking I get messages on my watch, folks. I'm not just ignoring you. I was telling her right at the beginning, I'm not just like, it's
I was
the
just like,
words.
wait, but how much of it is
Words.
you being like, I don't know.
50%.
Amy and I are on a Star
Yes.
Trek show, so I'll let her promote that, but I'll promote, if you like Star Wars, I'm on a Star Wars role-playing game show on Hyper RPG. You can catch all the old episodes on
Pencils
YouTube.
and Parsecs.
Pencils and Parsecs is what it's called, and there's some great people on that, so check that out. That's lots of fun.
Fantasy Flight or West End?
It is Edge of the Empire system. So
Fantasy Flight.
Fantasy
I
Flight.
had a
Yeah.
couple-year West End campaign that converted over to Fantasy Flight.
I'm running a Fantasy Flight campaign
Very
now,
nice,
and I
very
played
nice.
West End for many years.
Very cool. I play a
Yes.
Togorian, which we had to homebrew because it's not in the thing. A Togorian is a 9-foot-tall cat creature, so I really like that.
Not a stretch for you.
No, why play against type? No, size matters.
I am
Thank
playing
you
against
all
type.
so much for being here. Hector, thank you so much for bringing in all this beautiful bounty that we get to
You're
keep
welcome.
forever.
These are all his.
No.
Yeah.
I take these home.
I mean, I felt like
no,
this
that's
is
my,
not.
no, that's my stuff.
Take the dark side picture, though.
No.
Thank
Yes.
you for watching the Wednesday Club. Next week, by the way, we're good to announce this. I'm checking before I say this on the...
I'm going to say yes.
Yes.
All right. We have confirmations that the writers of DC's Young Animal books are coming to the studio.
All of them?
Nearly all of them.
Oh my goodness.
So it's a
I
big- it's a
believe
big
we've
table.
got a Jody Hauser.
Yep.
We've got Cecil Castellucci. We've got the writer of Cave Carson. Should have checked my facts before
Maybe.
we did this.
Possibly.
Cave Carson has a cybernetic eye?
And
Possibly.
I do believe we should have a certain Gerard Way
Doom Patrol.
in the
Wow.
building
Tune in.
next week.
Holy
Next week.
smokes.
Next Wednesday.
I'm really sorry, writer of Cave Carson, whose name I'm going to look up right now.
They'll get to clarify it
but
next
do
week.
not miss that next week.
Next Wednesday.
We're so excited.
7 o'clock.
7
awesome.
o'clock.
And
Please
and
don't keep us
the normal faces will be back, which are inferior to our faces.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll say it to them, to their faces.
Inferior.
Yes.
They'll be
Say
gone?
again? John,
John.
that's what we got?
John.
John will be here next
Guys,
week.
I'm just looking
Just
it up
look him
because
up
it's
right now.
rude.
Yes,
I'm very
that's true.
sorry.
I'm sure someone in chat is rage typing it right now.
Matt
Yeah,
Key
yeah.
and Taliesin Jaffe will be back, but they're
Yes.
not as attractive as V.
John
Dave and I.
Rivera.
Nowhere
Thank
near
you.
as
It's
much.
John
Nowhere near.
Rivera.
John
Yes.
Rivera.
Yeah. But they're
will
sufficient.
be with us
They are
next
sufficient.
week. Cannot
They'd
freaking
be
wait.
rank of 2. They're average.
See you next week on the
Yeah.
Wednesday Club. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.